is it Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy and Steve Spagnuolo? Are they sitting around and crunching the numbers and looking at who the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth team players are through their 90-man roster? Probably not. So does the depth chart matter for the first game of the season? Probably not in terms of preseason. But is there something that we can look at from the last couple of years compared to this year to see if there's anything to learn from that? And I'll tell you, one of the things that I've learned looking at the last couple of years is there's a player listed on this year's depth chart in a spot that then makes me question a couple of things we've talked about. So we'll get into that here at some point in the first or second hour. Rashee Rice will talk today for the first time since, I don't know, when's the last time we heard from Rashee Rice? Before he went to jail, we know that, because he didn't talk after. And he hasn't talked since he's been back with the Chiefs in training camp. And so he will talk today. We'll see what he will say, what the questions will be, what we'll hear from Rashee Rice. But he'll talk today along with Steve Spagnuolo and Andrew Armstrong and Jalen Moore. We'll talk today. Andrew Armstrong, I know it's the unofficial depth chart, but he's listed a little bit higher. There's some love for Andrew Armstrong. One of the takeaways from the, again, depth chart is start paying a little bit more attention to Andrew Armstrong in camp. And I know people have talked about him, but really, like, my focus has been obviously on Worthy, Rice, Tyquan, Cyrus, and Jalen Royals. Because I feel like those are the five that would be the difference makers if you want to go that route of the wide receiving core. But Andrew Armstrong, listed there in the top 6 of receivers, I think is something to keep an eye on as well. I also want to look at the biggest difference between the 2022 and the 2025 offense for the Kansas City Chiefs, because there is something that stands out. I went back and looked at 2022 and 2025 in EPA on certain plays, down and distance, parts of the game, and where the Chiefs were lacking this year versus looking at the last time they were the number 1 offense in the NFL. And there was an area that is just night and day, that is glaring, flashing, how bad it was last year versus how awesome it was in 2022. And we'll talk about that and what it can mean for this year if that is an area where, if they simply improve this, do they become a better offense this year and look closer to the 2022 version of the Kansas City Chiefs? We'll get into all of that and more. And also Cags.
Yeah.
Let's start there. Let's start with
you
Cags.
Were so down. You said only 25. He is totally getting to 27.
easy 27 now, because, since yesterday when we said to get to 27, he would need a home run every 7 games. Right now, he's pacing for 60-something since he hit a home run yesterday. He's hitting a home run every single game.
It's a good ratio.
Since we heard from him yesterday. That means with 21 home runs right now and 42 games left, do the quick math, he's on pace for 63 home runs now.
I say lock it in. I'd take it.
In the last one day, he is pacing for 63 home runs since we asked how many he would have this year. He clearly heard and was pissed and said, you know what? I'll take your 0-2 slider, reigning back-to-back Cy Young Award winner, lefty, and I'll deposit it into right center, smoke it at 110 off the bat for a home run, for a 2-run shot, and be the reason the Royals are up 3-0 in the game against Skubal. Both the hits with 2 outs and 2 strikes. The single up the middle scoring Bobby, 2 outs, 2 strikes. The home run, 2-run shot, 2 outs, 2 strikes for Jack Caglione. I don't know what he's going to end up with this year. Is he going to end up with 30, 25, 27? He's going to end up, we know, with at least 21 home runs. and we know he's the first outfielder, everyday outfielder for the Royals, although he's also a first baseman. He is the first everyday outfielder to hit 20 home runs in a season since Alex Gordon in 2013. It's been 13 years.
A lifetime.
Since the Royals have had an outfielder hit 20. Hit 20. Now, they've had first baseman hit 30 before. That was last year, Vinny Pasquantino. And I'd be fine moving forward if they had another first baseman hitting 30 or 40 home runs named Jack Caglione. But looking at just an outfielder to show you just how the last decade has just been a desert of outfield power production for the Royals. And even winning a World Series and going to another World Series. Gordon didn't get to 20 again. I think he got to like 18, 13 in a couple of other seasons, but didn't get to 20 again. Kane never got to 20. Obviously, you can just name them all because we know that he's the first one since Gordo to do that. That was a surprise to me because when you're in the middle of the season specifically and you're in the thick of like game by game by game. You know, they say when you're a parent, the days are long, the years are short. In baseball, like the days are long and it's like, okay, here's another 3-game series and here's a 3-game series. And oh my God, they played 80 games. And then the seasons come and the seasons go. And you're like, man, I feel like this whole thing has just flown by. Has it already been, 11 years since they won a World Series in 2015?
Gosh, that seems crazy.
It's crazy, right?
Crazy.
But in the middle of it, you're watching it, you're winning, and you're not maybe noticing that, hey, it's been a few years since they've had a outfielder hit 20 home runs. Hey, it's been like 6 years since they've had an outfielder hit 20 home runs. It's been like 8 years since and you continue on, and you look back and go, man, has it been 13 years since they've had an outfielder hit 20 home runs? And so it adds up, and you look at it, and it's surprising while not being surprising all in one. Because they have tried and tried and tried to find outfielders for the last, what feels like 20 years. Since Jermaine Dye and Carlos Beltran and Johnny Damon. Since they had that triumvirate in the outfield, they have been trying to find outfielders for a long time. Kane they got. Gordo was awesome. Gordo moved from the dirt to the outfield. Unheard of. But obviously clearly an athlete to be able to do that. But Kaggs is the first one to do it. Now, whether they move him to first base or keep him in right field, whatever that is. The question that I was going to bring up after last night's game, and the boys talked a little bit about it this morning, is this now the time where JJ and John Sherman look at what they have in Kaggs, what they did before the 2024 season with Bobby, after the 2025 season with Michael? Do they get after the 26 season, before the 27 season? Is this the next step in right now, after a year and a half in the big leagues, whatever happens the rest of the way in these final 41 games or so, 42 games, is Kaggs the next in line? Do they spend the offseason? Is this an offseason where the Royals should at least, maybe Kaggs says no, but approach him and say, let's work out something long-term. Let's get this contract done. Let's have you on this team when the new Kauffman is opened up at Crown Center. Let you maybe be the face of it because Bobby may have opted out at that point and you might have had to trade him or whatever at that point with Bobby. Because Bobby will have an opt-out before the new stadium opens. Is this the offseason that the Royals need to go ahead and get ahead of it and approach him? He may say no, Sterling, but at least be proactive and say, let's work out a long-term deal. Have you seen enough to project in the future that it would be the smart move to invest now instead of paying more on the back end and waiting to see if he can be even more than what we've seen so far?
Yeah, I think it'd be smart to do it now. When you are a smaller market team, this is what you should do. I've said this for a long, long time. The Braves have done a good job with that. Now, not every single one will be correct. You're going to miss out. Austin Riley. At times, Austin Riley's been good, he's been bad. Ozzie Albies, at times, has been good, has been bad. But I still think the thought process makes the most sense. it's hard for CAGs to turn down a lot because, let's be real, you're under arbitration.
Yep.
You're under contract, then arbitration. I mean, you have a long time in a Royals uniform. So what you're doing is paying for all that right now. For the Royals, you're getting extra if you're Caglione. And, yeah, those next, 3 years post-arbitration might be cheaper than you get in the open market. But overall, the totality of the contract can be pretty similar to what an open market value would be because you are under team control for so long.
Mm-hmm.
That's why whenever you see those big contracts of 10 years, $100 million for a really good player, you're like, well, why would they take that deal? You're dumb. Well, because the first 6, you're under contract for $9 million.
McGonigal 8 for 150.
Yes.
Connor Griffin 9 for 140.
And so I think if you are CAGs and the Royals, you should be able to find some sort of middle ground here. I'd do it. I would. I've seen enough. I think the bat is good enough. Again, whether you play him at first base, right field, doesn't necessarily matter. Center, Aaron Judge it. He's good enough.
Yeah.
The metrics this year are outstanding. I mean, just absolutely outstanding. You need to do this.
Michael, would you do it?
I was actually going to ask the question to you guys in the breaks.
Nice.
Yeah, I would absolutely do it. To your point, you have to take the gamble, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but at least you attempted to retain your own talent, and you're going to get it cheaper than you can get any other guy like him or potential like him on the market.
There's been this talk about how, quote-unquote, cheap John Sherman is and how much money they don't spend. They spent money before the 2024 season, bringing in the players, Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo. They then signed Seth Lugo to an extension last year, whether that was right, wrong, or indifferent. They signed him. They're paying him $20+ million to pitch. May have been the wrong decision, but it doesn't mean it could have been the wrong decision. But what if Seth Lugo continues to look like a Cy Young winner and the Royals did not sign him to an extension and then, I don't know, maybe you end up trading him and you get something back for him at this spot if he was looking like a Cy Young winner, or in that same thing that he looked in 2024 and the first half of 2025. If he continued that and you signed him to a deal, I don't know that anybody would be going, oh, that sucks. It's terrible. The reason we look at it and go, it might be a bad deal is because he hasn't been that Seth Lugo. But it's not because he's been that Seth Lugo and the Royals wouldn't offer him a contract extension because John Sherman said no. John Sherman said yes. Let's go back to pre-2024. They approached Bobby Witt. Now, I think they may have talked to Bobby Witt pre-2023, and Bobby may have said no. Not sure. That was the whole shortstop, third base, blah, blah, blah. But after he goes and has the almost 6-WAR season of 23, and you go, oh, man, what a huge turnaround at shortstop. This guy is an MVP candidate now. They get together and they work out a deal for a long-term contract. And I want to go back to then versus now and what we could be looking at 4 years from now as it relates to CAGs.
No opt-outs.
You're going to have some opt-outs. Somebody's got to go to jail. There's going to be some opt-outs in this. Bobby signed the 11 years, $288 million contract. But we know that the opt-outs come after the 2030 season. It's a 7-year, $148 for Bobby Witt. And in doing that, and this is where I think if you were looking at Jack Caglione, how long the contract extension should be or needs to be, I think a minimum of 7 years for Cags, because you would then be buying out 2 years of free agency.
Yes.
With Bobby, surprisingly, Bobby allowed the Royals to buy out 3 years of free agency for Bobby Witt. 2 to tango. He had to agree to the deal. Because he could have held out and said, no, I got a bunch of money and a signing bonus. I'm not starved. My family isn't starving for money. It'd be nice to get taken care of, but I'm betting on myself. I know how good I'm going to be. Tariq Skubal was not signing those contracts, and he's about to get a stupid amount of money in the offseason. But imagine if John Sherman, J.J. Piccolo, did not approach Bobby and just said, it's going to be too expensive. We can't afford the 7 for 148. The previous record contract was 4 for 82, which was Salvi. That's the previous high that they would ever sign somebody for in Royals history. And they gave Bobby 7 for 148, 11 for 288. If he continues to opt in, it's $288 million over 11 years. I doubt that would be the case. That's a ridiculous bargain for Bobby Witt. But if they didn't do that, Sterling, you know what the conversation would have been this summer? Because Bobby would be a free agent after 2027. If Bobby did not sign that contract, he would be a free agent after next year.
Oh, you'd have to go all the way in.
You would have to either go all the way in next year
or trade him.
Or we'd be talking about what return they just got for Bobby Witt in the trade deadline.
Yeah.
And this isn't to carry the water for a billionaire, but there is this allegation of how cheap John Sherman is. If he was, quote unquote, that cheap, we would be talking about them trading Bobby Witt right now because you couldn't afford him and you're not going to pay the $148 over 7 years. You're just going to go through arbitration and then you trade him and then you revamp the farm system and maybe you get another Bobby Witt and you're drafting high and then you can then go through arbitration with that guy. You got 6 years of team control and then trade and never actually sign somebody long-term to a massive deal that's worth it that could be an MVP type player. But they did. This offseason will go a long way to see how much money they are willing to spend on a bullpen, on other pieces, a starting pitcher, etc. But it could also go a long way if they're willing to say, Jack, here's a 7-year contract. Because I say it's got to be minimum 7 years. Because signing him to a 5-year deal, okay, that's fine. It's still the same amount of team control you would have had anyway.
You wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're the Royals, you wouldn't do it. It'd make no sense.
I think you got to buy out 2 years of free agency at least.
Yeah, at
for
a minimum.
Jack Caglione.
It fiscally makes no sense.
Yeah.
I mean, no one would do that. It'd be irresponsible.
Because with 28, 29, and 30 for Bobby Witt in the 3 years that would have been free agency that he's under contract with the Royals, in those 3 years, he's going to make $103 million in those 3 years. $34.3 million. Pretty freaking good. Kyle Tucker signed 4 for $240 at $60 million per year.
Now,
Bobby's going to be making 34 as a shortstop, an MVP candidate. Kyle Tucker's a right fielder and finished top 5 MVP one time in his career.
Now, I think the Kyle Tucker one was unique because everyone thought that was dumb.
Yeah.
I don't think that
but they still paid it though.
Well, it's the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I think everyone agrees that was dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who was out there going,
Well, let me ask you this: would he get $240? Would it be dumb if they got Bobby for 4 years, $240 at $60 million per? Would that where somebody goes, that's dumb to get Bobby Witt?
No.
The Kyle Tucker part of it, though, Sterling, I think is what drove this is kind of dumb. You're overpaying for Kyle Tucker. Would you be overpaying for Bobby Witt?
What's the largest AAV MLB right now?
It might be Tucker at $60 million.
Yeah, but I want to see what else is in the.
Soto's at 51 because he signed the 15-year $765.
So yeah, he's probably in that range. Then,
but he also has an opt-out after 5 years.
Shohei's is unique because it's 70, but it's not because it's opt-out. It's
35 and 35 because he's a pitcher and a player. 70 for Shohei makes sense. 60 for Kyle Tucker is, as you said, completely dumb. But if somebody's willing to pay 60 for a player on the open market, you would much rather pay it to Bobby than Kyle Tucker.
So how old will Bobby be when he hits that contract?
At the end of 27?
He's 26 right now. So
when's his birthday?
June 14th. We just turned 26.
So he will be 27 years old going into what would be free agency for Bobby
No,
Witt.
would be, but
oh, you're talking about 2030.
Yeah.
I'm comparing it to if they wouldn't have signed him long term.
Yeah.
What he would have received on the open market.
He'll be 30.
Would probably in the offseason of 2027, Sterling.
Yeah.
What would be the annual average value for a 27-year-old shortstop, Bobby Witt, that's finished top 5 MVP multiple times, batting title, platinum glove, gold glove, silver sluggers, America's shortstop, World Baseball Classic, Team USA, and is 27 years old hitting free agency? What would be the AAV for him?
What
50 mil.
I was gonna say, what did Trey Turner get?
No, it'd be more.
No, it'd be more than Trey Turner,
but probably. I think
it's minimum Kyle Tucker.
I
think Bobby's holding out for Kyle Tucker and somebody, whether it's the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers, maybe the Cubs, who knows? Somebody, if Bobby said, I want $60 million per year, if Kyle Tucker got that, then I'm getting at least 60. Somebody would pay Bobby Witt $60 million per year. I'm convinced that would happen.
Different, obviously, but a little bit like Deshaun Watson when he got that contract, the Browns was all guaranteed.
Yeah.
And every other quarterback said, well, I want that. And every other team said, No, that was just dumb. That was the Browns. I think you will see that with the Dodgers. And that's the Dodgers. That's Kyle Tucker. That was a bad move.
Would the Dodgers be willing to do that at shortstop to take care of shortstop for the next? Because Freddie Freeman's getting older, Mookie Betts getting older.
Sure,
Kyle Tucker.
Yeah,
and
but you
all
still
that.
have Mookie Betts under a very
because
large
Kyle Tucker
contract.
can opt out. So Kyle Tucker can
he ain't opting out.
Right. I don't necessarily disagree, but he can opt out after next year.
Yeah, he's not.
He's not. I know. Right. Because he's going to make 2 years, 104. So really, Kyle Tucker, if you take in the opt-out, it's Kyle Tucker $52 million for 2 years. So that's a little different than the 60, which is why he's not going to opt out, because he's going to get more in the second 2 years than he got in the first 2 years. A lot of it's going to be deferred, but whatever, all of that stuff. So let's just take it before the opt-outs. Since we're doing that with Bobby, 7 years, 148 before his opt-outs. Juan Soto, 5 years, 255 before his opt-outs, $51 million per year. Kyle Tucker, 2 years, 104 before his opt-outs, $52 million per year. So that would be minimum. So Bobby may look at it and say, okay, before the opt-outs come in the clause in the contract, 52 minimum for Bobby Witt, right? I would say that, probably 52, 55. Yeah. Maybe the full life of the contract when we look at it and go, all right, so, quick math, which I'm not very good at, obviously. So 7 for 148 comes out to $21 million per. The 11 for 288 comes out to $26 million. $26.2 million per. Let's just round down to 26. $26 million for 11 years per year. So after the opt-outs is when his salary increases, but not to the degree that it's going to increase with him being on the open market. As a 30-year-old, he's going to make $148 million and be a 30-year-old free agent.
Well, and that's
Bobby Witt.
And that's where I do wonder. He's probably okay. Juan Soto has an opt-out for the same thing, basically in 2030. Yeah. It's the same thing.
Yep, he signed a 15-year, $765,
which is $51 million AAV.
But it's also a 5-year, $255, which is exactly 51 as well. His contract, oddly enough, is 51 every single year for 15 years, as opposed to like 11 for 288. Well, it's more backloaded.
And so I do wonder. Juan Soto got that too because his bat's the strength, clearly.
Yeah.
Which means it should age well. Because he's not focusing on stolen bases, really defense. So maybe by the time he's 33, he's probably just DH only. I don't know. This is not a knock on Bobby. I don't know if you want him being your DH when he's age 33, 35 through 40. His bat's really damn good. It's great. But we know that his speed, his glove, the 5 tools, that's where his value is mostly located. So I wonder if it would be a higher up front, and then as he ages, you're sitting here going, you know what I'm saying? Because the bat's great, but Juan Soto's a top 3 bat in Major League Baseball. Bobby Witt Jr. is probably a top 20 bat in Major League Baseball.
But he's also led the league in hits the last 2 years.
Agreed, but if you're going to transition to DH at some point, and
I think he would transition to third
first, like Manny Machado.
But I think you go, shortstop, third base, maybe outfield. I don't know.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, he's so athletic.
It's not like Vlad Guerrero Jr. that signed his $38 million per year contract for 11 years, and he's going to graduate to DH from first base.
Yeah, but
it's a little crazier.
And for him, the bat has not been good enough.
And for him, it was just bat only because it's like, okay, he's fine at first base. He's good, at times. But when he starts to age, it's just going to be a DH.
Well, and again, I think if the bat is that good, not with him, but like with Juan Soto, you don't care because that's still going to be.
Yep.
You thought you were with Miggy, but Miggy had the injuries after the playoffs, and that was a whole other ordeal. But I just wonder what that market looks like because if you are that athletic and a lot of your value is based on defense and speed, will teams be willing to give you if he opts out and he's 30 years old, 10-year deal?
Yeah. I mean,
but will teams?
But how many? I mean, there'll be some. Again, Soto signed a 15-year deal, so he's going to be 40 years old.
Yeah, because he was 26 when he signed.
Yeah, so 40, 41.
Yes, finally,
Bobby would be right around 40.
Juan Soto will be an unrestricted free agent at 41.
Yeah, but we bring this up in terms of if the Royals didn't go this route and if Bobby didn't agree to that, they're not going to be able to afford Bobby at the end of the 27 season.
No.
So they would be looking to trade him this offseason, or a week ago, 8 days ago, looking to trade him, or next year's trade deadline if they're not in it, or take the chance of we're in it, we're keeping Bobby, he's going to sign somewhere else, and you get nothing back for him. The Tigers got 2 top 80 prospects back for Skubal. I'd rather have Bobby Witt than the chance of 2 top 80 prospects in baseball that may or may not turn out to be anything. We've seen lots of top 25 prospects not ever materialize in baseball.
Yeah.
We've seen that happen before. I'd rather have the bird in the hand in Bobby Witt for 3 years after free agency. And that's the projection you have to make with Cags. I would sign him, but I'm not signing him for anything less than $7 million. If Cags wants... yes, also $7 million.
Yeah.
But if Cags wants a 5-year extension or something like that, I'm not giving that to him because
I don't think he would ask for it because he would understand. I mean, if you play because you're already on a contract for 5 years, why would you?
Well, the Royals, I don't know why they would do it because that's just taking care of arbitration.
You make no.
Cags would probably do it because then I can get a lot of money guaranteed. It's a set value, and then I'll be a free agent the exact same time I would have been a free agent anyway.
It's you can say unfair all you want,
but if the Royals are going to do it, you have to buy out free agency. So, like for instance, Connor Griffin and the Pirates bought out 3 years of free agency. Kevin McGonigal and the Tigers bought out 2 years of free agency. Bobby Witt was bought out of 3 years of free agency. Jack has to sign minimum 7 years to buy out 2 years of free agency, and I would do it. I would see what he's this year and hope that he continues to progress and that in 28 or 29, he's a $40 million player that you're paying $30 million to.
Yeah.
Or $25 million to, depending on what he signs for. Because, again, McGonigal and Griffin, McGonigal 8 for 150 is a bargain.
Oh, yeah.
Connor Griffin, if he continues this, 9 for 140 is a bargain. Pratt for the Brewers signed like 5 for 50, something like that, before he had ever made it up to the big leagues. That was one of those pre-service time extensions that let's go ahead and take care of him now. I'm on board if they want to do that with Cags because we've seen that he can get crazy hot and carry an offense. And we've seen the progression of not batting against lefties to having multiple 2-out hits with 2 strikes against Skubal. Lefty versus lefty. That's the progression that you would then continue to project. And, yeah, I'm approaching him. He may say no, Sterling, because he signed a $7.5 million signing bonus. He's not wanting for money. But it should also be pointed out that Connor Griffin signed a $7 million signing bonus as well. Same draft, and also agreed to the 9 for 140. Bobby had a $7 million signing bonus.
The 7 years, the sweet spot for the player because you're getting paid way more during your first 5 years.
How old is Jack right now? Is he 23?
23.
23. When does he turn 24?
Let me look up his birthday.
Yeah.
He turned 24. Thank you, Wikipedia. February 9th.
Okay. So he would be 30-year-old free agent if he signed a 7-year deal. So he'd be a 30-year-old power hitter after already having maybe $160, $170 million.
And you'd probably transition off of right field to first base at that point.
Yeah, right. You would think at that point, probably. If I'm Jack, I would negotiate that I'm the first baseman. If you want to approach me long term and sign a 7-year deal, 2 years of free agency, then I'd like to.
I
be
meant
first
when he
base.
turned 30.
I know. All right. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. Continue rolling more so next. Well, we predict a lot of different things. I mean, you can predict what you want to do in sports. We see people predict the, pop culture and also predicting maybe the music industry as well. Kalshi, America's #1 predictions market platform, lets you trade those predictions in a live market. The economy, stories, headlines, all of that. We talk about sports a lot. You could also a trade on the elections, trade on music, trade on pop culture TV shows that are out there. A lot of different ways to go and place whatever trade and money you want to put on it and see if that comes through. Whatever you may be an expert in. We like to deal in sports. Sterling, a big fan of music. Might be something that he would be able to trade on. And the beautiful part of Kalshi is that you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. Right now, download the Kalshi app and use code JASON810 to get $10 when you trade 10. It's JASON810, $10 when you trade 10. It's Kalshi, Kalshi. Kalshi, trade on anything. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. So we're all in agreement that we would approach Jack Caglione in the offseason and sign him to a long-term deal. We're all in agreement that if you're the Royals, you move him to first base, definitely.
No.
Okay?
Don't let him leave
when
the
he's
room.
30.
Now yous can't leave, Jack. Actually, in that movie, Cags would be on the side of locking the door so that others yous can't leave. I think John Sherman and JJ might be on the side that comes into the bar. Cags would be more with the Italian. Now yous can't leave. Yeah, lock the door behind them. We're going to work this out right now and get this done. But I would do it. We're seeing what he's becoming in real time.
Yeah.
And it's been fun to see. And last night, I mean, I can make a case. Last night, to me, was more impressive than what happened on Saturday. And I know that it's like, hold on, 2 home runs and 2 doubles in one game versus a home run and a single. But who's he going up against?
Yeah.
The fact that it is Tariq Skubal and the single was on a 2-2 pitch in the 8th pitch of the at-bat. he had fouled off the previous 3 pitches to stay alive.
Well, it was just such a good at-bat, a good piece of hitting.
Great.
Driving it up the middle. I mean,
Put
it
it
was
in play. He could have struck out 4 or 5 different times in that at-bat.
Yeah.
And then the home run was on an 0-2 pitch. That was pitch number 5 because he had just fouled off the previous 2.
His approach has been so much better than I realize now. I know in college the knock against him was he would swing outside of the zone too often because he was doing damage on pitches outside of the zone.
Damage.
So he never had to really focus on 'maybe the strike zone because he was just that damn good. But he's been really good for a guy who's 6'4", 250, whose bat speed is in the 98th percentile. I mean, he's never going to be a low strikeout guy or a guy who's going to, not whiff a little bit, but he does damage. He's effective. I would like to see the walk rate go up a little bit, right? We'd like to see a little more, but I think that will come as he ages, right? Because I think right now when you're 23, even if you have a lot of power, I think teams are sitting here going, yeah, that's fine. We're going to attack him. We're still going to attack the zone. Who's behind him? This Royals team. Oh, it's Salvador Perez is batting .213. Yeah, okay. We're still going to attack Cags, though. Doesn't matter.
I think one of the more impressive at-bats, too, in these 2 days that we're talking about is I think it was the 5th inning, and it was the second double. So he had hit a home run and a double already. So, well, I mean, the 2 doubles actually could be the most impressive at-bats because one of them when he went out low and away and pulled it down the right field line and got it, and the other one, the changeup, he stayed back, barrels it up inside, and takes it off the wall in left field. Like line drive off the wall in left field on a changeup. Like, again, to go to left center or left field for Cags on a changeup means he's letting it travel, and then barreling it. Like, that was an impressive at-bat from Cags. And then last night, either one of them. The home run probably more because it was an 0-2 pitch, and he barreled it up and smoked it for a home run as opposed to the broken bat sort of bleeder up the middle and the ground ball with eyes, as Costner would say. But those 3 at-bats, oddly enough, the 2 doubles on Saturday and the home run last night, to me were the more impressive at-bats. The first 2 were against right-handers, though, and last night was against Skubal. I think last night goes a long way for Jack Caglione. And confidence up there against the reigning back-to-back Cy Young Award winner in Skubal. I guarantee he won't win 3 straight this year.
Which, by the way, how wild is it that the Dodgers lineup is just going, all right, we're going to pinch it to Teoscar Hernandez for Kyle Tucker.
I mean,
Max Muncy's going to bat 8th in that lineup. Their worst hitter is Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
That's their worst hitter.
Yeah.
It's Mookie Betts.
And that's where it's like, how much would they pay for Bobby?
Again, when you have all that money, I mean, at some point they're going to get capped out, right? Like
Nope.
No, I mean,
such thing.
I'm not saying by the league. I'm saying by the actual
No,
owner.
no. I'm told the owner is the best owner in baseball because he's willing to spend his own money. That's what I've been told. These cheap other owners out there should be opening up their billion-dollar pocketbooks and buying players the way that the Dodgers owner does.
Okay.
The Dodgers owner clearly comes out of... He actually paid Kyle Tucker out of his own money.
It was just sitting there in a
100%. Yeah, so he would not shy away from paying people a lot of money because he's willing to do that. He's the best owner in baseball because he spends his own money. That's what I've been told by dumbasses who don't know how the economics of baseball work. Go ahead.
I also think Sherman's done
for Sterling.
I think Sherman's done a really good job overall. I know people will have their complaints, but I think based on what he's had to deal with, how much he's spent, top 20, top 18, what was it, 16th? And spending this year. I mean, I think Sherman's done a really, really solid job. It's not his fault that Piccolo got the wrong guys. Sherman gave him the pocketbook, opened it up, and JJ got it wrong. And that's what we saw so far. I think as good as Cags has been, we're all on the same page of extension. I am concerned about Carter Jensen.
Yeah.
I am really concerned. I think you can chalk it up to long season. I think you can chalk it up to he's caught a lot more than I think the Royals, for sure, Salvi, and a lot of people expected him to catch. But the underlying metrics are really, really rough.
Yeah.
Really, really rough. The walk percentage is good. The bat speed is solid. The chase rate's good. But after that, you're really looking at a guy whose expected batting average is 201. Expected on base of 282. Expected slug of 355. I mean, he's outperforming the underlying metrics by a fairly wide margin. 717 OPS, I think you'd say, yeah, it's fine. That's solid for a 23-year-old catcher. We'll take that. But there's some cause for concern, but it does look like we went over it yesterday, the Mendoza line, at least the steep drop-off line of, all right, the last basically month and a half, almost 2 months, it's been a different Carter Jensen. Do you chalk this up to the long season, or is there something else you see as, all right?
I think for now, I'm going to chalk it up to the long season, and I think it's a game of adjustments. What he did last year in September, came back this year, had his struggles at times, then turned it on and got hot, then struggled, then turned it on again, and now he's struggling.
Yeah.
Again. So I think he's a young player that continues to try to figure out Major League Baseball while Major League Baseball is figuring him out. So I would put a little more weight into being a long season than anything else. I don't know that the Royals expected Carter to catch over 50% of the games this year.
No.
And I don't know that they expected Salvi to catch like 36% of the games. Because there are some other, like Luke Maile
and
Diaz have caught some. But Carter's at 64 games that he has started at catcher this year. Salvi started 43. I don't think they would have expected, if you said those two combined for 107 starts, that it would be Carter that would be at over 60% of the starts between the two.
Yeah, no.
But that's been Salvi's injury, the hip, the whatever, and it's also been the ineffectiveness.
Which, by the way, I'm okay with Carter doing that because we want to see where he can grow. I mean, he's young.
I think next year should be 70-30.
Yeah, I mean, Carter's the future.
Yeah.
Again, this is not me giving up on Carter, by the way. That was not the conversation. I was just asking where your concern level lies because...
Well, it could be also like, if Carter was performing and heading in the right direction now with the batting, getting better and better, we'd be talking about, do you approach Carter?
Well, correct.
And I think there's a chance you approach Carter. If they truly believe in Carter, you approach Carter and Cags, and you might get an even bigger discount for Carter.
Yeah.
Carter didn't get $7 million as a bonus.
Carter wouldn't do... I wouldn't say, I don't know the guy personally, but I'd be hard-pressed if you're Carter Jensen to say, I didn't have a great year. It's not bad. I mean, again, if he ends up in an OPS north of 715, it's 717 right now, I think the Royals would look at the underlying numbers and say, hey, we got to at least be semi-cautious here. We can't give him a 7-year, $150 million contract right now because some of the underlying metrics are looking a little rough.
What if you said to Carter, and I know you're talking about the 150, I mean, what if you said 7 years, 140, and we're going to give you $20 million per year, and it buys out, well,
it's only 2 years.
It would buy out a year of free agency for Carter. Because it would be, he'd have 5 years.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It would be 2 years because he had 5 years left after this year.
Yeah.
So if it's after this year, so he'd have 5 years after this year. So 7 years, you would get 2 years of free. It'd be the same thing as Jack.
I probably would not. If I were the Royals, I probably would not. I would make Cags the priority first.
Oh, I would too.
And then, because I would even use, if you can't get it done with Cags, I would use some of that money, almost like the draft pool, to make sure you get Cags signed first. And
what
again,
if you did 7 for 100?
Yeah,
and it's about $15 million per year.
I'd be in for that. I mean, because I think you're looking at what did Ozzie Albies sign? Wasn't it 10 for 100? Now, this was a few years ago.
Because Connor Griffin is $15 million per year, 9 for 140.
Oh, no, Ozzy Alabi is signed to 7 for 35. I'm trying to figure out who I'm thinking of.
So $15 million a year for 7 years, $105 million. 7 years, $105. If you're Carter, Carter did not get $7.5 million like Jack got. Carter got $1 million. So, and Bobby got 7. And Carter's family is not wanting for money either. But you're also talking about somebody who was around in the bus leagues for a while as a high schooler. Didn't have the experience Jack had in going to college and everything and enjoying the SEC.
Yeah.
Carter got $1 million, and then single A, low A, high A, eventually double A, and now he's up with the big leagues. You offer him 7 for 100 and say, Carter, no matter what you do the rest of your life, here's $100 million. Yeah, in 3 or 4 years, you might feel like you are underpaid, but you are guaranteed $100 million. I mean,
it's not quite
how
like...
how do you not sign that if you're Carter?
Yeah, so Acuna was what I was thinking. It was 8 for 100.
Okay.
For Ronald Acuna, 8 for 100. And baseball is different than football. I know some people might be wondering, well, what about holdouts? Like, if I'm underpaid, they don't do it.
They don't do that.
They don't do it in baseball. At least for the most part, it's. I'm trying to think off the top of my head of a legitimate holdout.
No. I don't remember one.
Because, in the NFL, if you sign a 5-year deal, after year 3, they're holding out already, right?
No, I want more upfront money now.
Baseball, it's almost that understood of, hey, you took care of me during arbitration. You paid then. I'll play a little under market value now.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back, continue rolling. We'll hear from the Chiefs here eventually whenever they get done with practice. More Zone next. All right, men, if you're out there and you happen to have some symptoms that could be related to low testosterone, that could be decrease in libido, putting on weight, less production in the gym, maybe you're not sleeping as well, sad, depressed, brain fog comes in, no motivation sometimes to even go to the gym. All those could be related to low testosterone. Guys in their early to mid-30s start losing 2 to 3% of their testosterone production every year. It happens gradually, and before you know it, you don't feel like the same man that you did in your 20s and your 30s. Heartland Men's Health is here to help. They have been successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. If you have questions about low T, you can go to heartlandmenshealth.com and take the low T quiz on their website. Takes just a couple of minutes. And Heartland Men's Health is helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1, PDA, and more, all designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. Simply schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health today. They'll do your lab work, have your results within 30 minutes. A licensed medical provider will review your results with you, discuss your options, help you make the decision together with the medical team. Cost of the appointment, it's $99, and that includes medical consult, T, and PSA test. And if you sign up for testosterone treatment the day of your appointment, your visit, it is free. 3 locations to serve you with Heartland Men's Health: Overland Park, Independence between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
All right, Robert of this hour, we'll hear from the Chiefs coming up at some point in the 11 o'clock hour. It'll be Steve Spagnuolo. We'll hear from Rashee Rice, Andrew Armstrong, and Jalen Moore. We can also get into some thoughts about the first unofficial depth chart for the Chiefs, getting ready for preseason game number 1, 3 o'clock on Saturday against the Rams. Anything to learn from the last couple of years of depth charts as it relates to a conversation we've been having over the last couple of weeks with the depth chart we've been watching in practice? So we'll get into that. In fact, we can talk about that on the other side of the break as we get ready to hear from Steve Spagnuolo, Rashee Rice. Rashee for the first time in a while. We'll see what he'll be asked and what he's willing to answer. All that coming up next. Mansour Delane still in the yellow non-contact jersey. Notes from practice today so far. Trey Smith still not practicing. So it'll be 4 days in a row. Cyrus Allen was the star early on of 11 on 11, then left practice with an injury, then returned to practice pretty quickly after that, and then got the first 2 throws from Patrick Mahomes again.
Who did?
Cyrus Allen.
Cyrus, yeah.
Cyrus started off 11 on 11, getting first couple throws his way, including another down the left sideline back shoulder throw while being guarded by Noah Williams. And it was perfectly executed. Mahomes, perfect pass. Cyrus Allen, last second, boom, turn around, back shoulder, catches it. Leaves with a leg injury, goes over to the tent, comes back, more 11 on 11, Mahomes to Cyrus Allen.
Do we believe in the back shoulder throws? Because we see this, I feel like, a good amount in training camp where we go, back shoulder throws, they're back in KC.
I know.
And then the regular season rolls around and you see like 3 a year.
But let me ask you, does it...
To Travis Kelce.
See, and I think that's a good question. But maybe more important than are the back shoulder throws back? It might be more important to ask the question, is it random that the back shoulder throws and the connection that's there continues to be with Cyrus Allen? Because that was, I'm not saying it's the same. That was Rodgers and Devontae Adams made their money on the back shoulder throws because they were just lockstep.
Sure.
Like they were connected. And Mahomes or Rodgers would throw the ball exactly where it was going to be, that back shoulder to Devontae Adams, and it was beautiful. Is it more important, Sterling, of whether or not the back shoulder throw is back? Is it more important in the fact that Mahomes is throwing it to Cyrus Allen? And it looks like it's just perfectly in sync, as if they've been playing together for a while, and hitting him perfectly where it's going to be, and while being well guarded by Noah Williams. That not only are they connecting in the accuracy and the waiting to the last second and catching it, but Mahomes is throwing it while he's guarded by Noah Williams pretty closely.
Yeah, I think it's more important that it's Cyrus.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I don't know if he did a lot of this with Rasheed. I feel like that was a guy in training camp we saw some, but not really as much in the regular season.
And we asked, like, Rasheed Rice, it's going to be back shoulder throws, and it's going to be some, catch point, and he was awesome at SMU at the contested catches, and, it wasn't that he was a contested catch receiver because he was getting open.
Yeah.
But when the throws were contested catches, he had one of the highest rates in college.
It was great.
Of catching it. So we thought, okay, now there's going to be back shoulder throws, taking some chances and some 50-50 balls to Rasheed Rice. But we haven't really seen that all that much in his career.
I'm also just enamored with Cyrus Allen's growth this quickly. I know it's early.
You're saying he's a grower, not a shower.
I get that I've not watched all the Cincinnati football games, but the whole conversation about Cyrus coming out of college was slot-only guy, intermediate routes. He's not going to be a contested shoulder guy. He's not going to. He's going to struggle in that, actually. And so far, it feels like he's a full route tree.
Yeah.
And on the outside.
And catching everything thrown his way.
Again, either all the scouts got him wrong, or this dude saw what the scouts were saying and said, I'm going to work my ass off to make sure I'm a full wide receiver and not just a gadget or a specialized wide receiver, if you will.
Or it could be that if the Chiefs had Tyreek Hill, Ladd McConkey, and Colston Loveland at tight end, would Cyrus Allen be, that's cool throwing to 13, but look what they did with Tyreek. Look, this connection with Ladd. Loveland, what he's doing there. Would Cyrus be a nice little side note to camp if there wasn't such a
need
starvation, right, of excitement and optimism around the wide receiving group with what we've seen the last couple of years, that any little bit of, oh wow, this guy looks like a legit actual wide receiver, is then maybe embellished to a degree because there isn't something you can hang your tight end.
McBride.
McBride, yes. So you draft McBride, you draft McConkey, and you sign Tyreek. So, is Cyrus Allen as excitable in camp if that's the case? Or are we doing that because Kelsey's aging, you don't really have somebody behind him? Your big offseason wide receiver acquisition was re-signing Tyquan for $4 million. Rasheed Rice had surgery and then went to jail. And Xavier Worthy had surgery on his shoulder and then got rolled up on it and missed a couple of practices. He's back now. I do think there's an element of that to where it's such a starvation for some positivity around the wide receivers that you see this from Cyrus Allen and you go, hey, you know what? Stephon Diggs was a 5th rounder. Puka Nacua was a 5th rounder. Amon-Ra was a 4th rounder.
4th rounder.
You've seen some stud wide receivers in the NFL that didn't have to go top 15. They aren't all Jamar Chase and JSN and Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb and things like that. You know, they're not all going to be that guy. You can find some guys later on that are diamonds in the rough. And hey, maybe, just maybe, the Chiefs have found one. So then maybe next year they can spend a high draft pick on a defensive end and not a tackle or a wide receiver.
So I agree with you to an extent. I do. Every year, though, we'll find guys. Justin Ross will get some even
I
if
think
you have,
Justin Ross was like going up against the backups and the 2s and the 3s.
Agreed. And that's where I say only semi, where I do agree to an extent. But overall, I mean, Rashee Rice still had some good, productive games for Kansas City. Xavier Worthy was still a first-round draft pick who I think some people should still have some excitement for. And still the talk is Cyrus Allen.
Yeah.
Jalen Royals had all the love going into last year, and that love is no longer there.
He made the mistake by not putting on 85.
Yeah, that was his fault.
85
Royals was going to be
like,
feed families.
It was all downhill from there.
I mean, Tyquan Thornton, to an extent, had a nice year last year as well, and it's all been Cyrus. So while I do agree we are starved for some receiver to step up and be the guy, there's still some higher draft capital players or bigger name players in Cyrus, and yet it's still about Cyrus. It's not just a one-off.
Yeah.
I go back to Nico Remigio. I don't think it was last year or 2 years ago, but I think it was last year. And he kept making diving catches. And I remember these fans kept telling me, well, you got to put him in the game. You got to do this, that, and the other. And I go, it looks good. I won't argue. The reason, though, he's diving is because Xavier Worthy is running there and catching it in stride.
Yeah.
Because Rashee Rice is catching it in stride.
It's the Carlos Beltran that makes an easy catch versus another center fielder that dives for it. And it's like, oh my God, what amazing catch.
Yeah.
Beltran didn't have to dive for it because he got there quicker.
It's like PCA. You'll see these ones where it's like a 5% catch probability,
right,
and he gets there without having to dive. And then you're like, well, that's just a routine play. You're like, no, because no other receiver or center fielder is getting there.
Right.
And so it's not a knock on Nico. It's not but I think there has to be some grain of salt with a lot of these training camp situations, because for me, what Cyrus is doing is sustainable. It's not just that was a fun catch. Oh, look at Justin Ross. He mossed the 4th-string cornerback, put him in the game.
He's so big, though. He's just tall. He's so tall.
Cyrus is doing this against
Noel
starters.
Williams.
And Noel Williams, I think, is a really good corner.
The multiple back shoulder throws we've seen are against Noel Williams, who's a starting cornerback for the Chiefs.
And he draped on him. It's not like it's he shook him and this. No, it's been great. Noel Williams, Noel who locked up Rashee Rice the other day? Was that Noel?
No, that was the Dallas PD.
That was really good.
So I want to look at the depth chart that's released. And, we talk about it being the unofficial depth chart. And I think there is an element of like the PR staff puts it out. Just like a general, like, okay, here are the people that we think will be the starters.
Sure.
But as we look at it, the 4th-string running back is Brashard Smith. Emmett Johnson is ahead of him, 3rd string. I would guess right now Brashard Smith is ahead of Emmett Johnson, but maybe Brashard Smith is ahead of Emmett Johnson because they're trying to see if they need to keep Brashard Smith or move on from him.
Yeah.
And Emmett Johnson, who's not going to be cut, is going to be on the team. So if you're keeping 3 running backs, Brashard Smith's out.
I still think you keep 4.
If you're keeping 4...
And maybe Brashard's the practice squad guy.
Well, Brashard's also the backup kick returner and punt returner.
Yep.
On the depth chart. But what stands out to me is, so we've talked about early in camp who's running with the ones, offensive line specifically. And I think this is of note. So we mentioned 2024 when it was Kingsley at left tackle right away. Pads came on, Kingsley 1st string, it was Kingsley. Last year, from day one, Simmons left tackle, Kingsley left guard. Plug and place, those are the guys. Even though Kingsley and Wanya Morris went back and forth in 2024 with the starters, Khalil Benson has been running at right tackle with the ones for a while now. Trey Smith goes down, they slide Khalil Benson in at right guard, and Jalen Moore plays right tackle. The first unofficial depth chart has Jalen Moore at right tackle.
Yeah.
And you would say, okay, well, this is unofficial. Does it really matter? Well, if we go back and look at what took place early in training camp running with the ones and how that then compared to what they did in the regular season, in 2024, the first unofficial depth chart for the Chiefs had Kingsley at left tackle. The first unofficial depth chart last year had Simmons and Kingsley on the left side. Those were the guys running with the ones. Those were the guys that started week 1. This is different. This is the first one that we've seen a camp battle where one person is running with the ones the entire time, and the first, quote, unofficial depth chart has somebody else listed as a starter on the offensive line. So if Benson was listed there, it's fine. It's pretty obvious at that point because we've seen it now 3 years in a row, camp battles, and this is the guy. But he's the backup to Jalen Moore. And again, it's unofficial. Maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't. But they didn't put Wanya as a starting left tackle in 2024.
No.
It was Simmons and Kingsley last year. And maybe it was more obvious because those guys were expected to be that, where Khalil Benson wasn't expected to be this. But I think it's something to file away, keep in the back of your mind. And on Saturday, I don't know that the starters will play at all. We'll hear from Andy Reid later on this week if the starters will play on Saturday.
That's what I was going to say. Is
Yeah.
you, even if they don't,
Yeah.
it'll still. But then Khalil Benson might still get worked because I want to see what he can do.
Oh, yeah. Benson's playing no matter what. But if the starters are out there and it's Jalen Moore, okay, well, especially if Trey Smith can't go and it's Benson at right guard and Jalen Moore, now we won't know.
This is going to confuse the bleep out of us.
Now we won't know. But if it's all the backups,
Smoke screen.
then Khalil Benson will be at right tackle, unless it's backups and Jalen Moore is at right tackle, which ain't going to happen because you need Khalil Benson to get as many reps as possible.
This is like
we won't know.
It's like college football. Jalen Moore or Khalil Benson or Chugadrick
right.
or Esapole.
It's the oars, man. All of the oars everywhere in college football.
The wide receiver one was an interesting one that you mentioned. I was surprised by that.
About the Rashee Rice, Jalen Royals. Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Tyquan Thornton. Then it's Jalen Royals, Cyrus Allen, and Andrew Armstrong as the as the backups. Not Holiday or Nico Remigio or Jason Brownlee. It's Andrew Armstrong.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. I thought, is this bad for Nico? Because you're not keeping 7 wide receivers.
Yeah.
Is this bad for Nico? Obviously intriguing, though, for Andrew Armstrong.
Yeah.
I mean, very intriguing. And maybe it means nothing. But if you're keeping 6, that shows that Andrew is the 6th.
Let's take a timeout. We'll come back, and then we'll hopefully hear from the Chiefs coming up next. All right, we'll hear from the Chiefs coming up in a little bit. The Horn Blue. It'll be Steve Spagnuolo, and then in some particular order, we don't know until they get to the podium, of Rashee Rice, Andrew Armstrong, and Jalen Moore. Jalen Moore listed as the starting right tackle over Khalil Benson. So I'm assuming that he'll be asked about, Khalil Benson and right tackle and running with the twos and all that stuff.
I assume Emmanuel Ogbah as well. He just got re-signed by the Chiefs on a one-year deal.
Yeah. So
why not bring the band back together?
You think Jalen Moore will be asked about Emmanuel Ogbah?
No, not him, Spags.
Spags will be asked about Emmanuel Ogbah, certainly. Andrew Armstrong listed as the backup to Tyquan Thornton. Rashee Rice's backup is listed as Jalen Royals, and Xavier Worthy's backup is listed as Cyrus Allen. So there you go. But yes, the Chiefs have signed Emmanuel Ogbah. Well, here's the thing. He knows the system, right?
They're going to bring back like Anthony Hitchens next.
I mean, he knows the system, too.
He knows the system. Dan Sorensen, he knows the system.
Knows the system. Yeah. So they signed somebody who has blood running through their veins and has played in the NFL before. Emmanuel Ogbah.
Not great.
It got nothing. It does nothing for me in them signing Emmanuel Ogbah. What it does is tell me that when you look at the defensive ends, Karlaftis, FAU, Ashton Gelati,
Whoa, dude.
And, Ashton Gelati and R. Mason Thomas. Behind that is VJ Anthony, Tyreek Smith, Ethan Hurkett, and Anthony Dunn.
He played in 13 games last year for Jacksonville.
Yeah. How'd that work out?
Half a sack.
Oh. Per game?
I wish.
So did he end up with like 6 sacks or something?
He had 5 the year prior.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, not great, Bob. Not a lovely situation. He's 33.
Yeah, I mean, if he makes the team, he makes the team. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But it's just like, look who they have after their top 4.
I guess
Also,
he has one of the worst pass rush win rates in the last 2 years.
Not surprising.
Any edge.
Not surprising. Played in 13 games, got a half sack.
Also, absolute BS on his PFF or PFR, Pro Football Reference page.
Mm-hmm.
His nickname, the Nigerian Nightmare.
No, it's not. That's not
liar.
It's not his nickname.
Liar, Pro Football Reference.
Yeah. His nickname in this camp is Warm Body. That's it. His nickname is Camp Body. VJ Anthony, Tyreek Smith, Anthony Dunn, and Ethan Hurkett. Those are the defensive ends after Karlaftis, Gelati, R. Mason Thomas, and FAU. And now throw in Emmanuel Ogbah. And the only reason that makes any difference is because you recognize the name.
Yeah. He was...
I'd rather take one of the younger guys than Emmanuel Ogbah.
I would take VJ Anthony. I'd take CJ Anthony.
I'd take Mike Dana.
Well, yeah.
I'd take Carmelo Anthony right now.
I think so, too.
There's a lot of Anthonys I would probably take
his
over Emmanuel Ogbah.
PFF grade last year was
0.
111th out of 115 edge rushers, so he'll fit right in.
Yeah, that's fine. It's perfectly fine.
He will fit right in.
No big deal.
But can he set the edge? The answer was also no.
Sterling, I don't know how many times I have to say this. He knows the system.
You know who's happy?
Spags.
Mick Schaefer.
Oh.
Oklahoma State.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Yep, Mick Schaefer pumped about it. By the way, I know we were looking at EB videos yesterday in the first day of training camp and him with Kenneth Walker and Bashard Smith and some of the pass pro that we were talking about that was early in camp of what we saw. And I keep watching them because they're great. They're fun. But Eric Bieniemy getting on Kenneth Walker, it was a pass play. It was like 7-on-7 or something. And Walker's walking back or jogging back or whatever, and EB's yelling at him about, eyes and heads up and just yelling about something. And he looked at him, and you can't see Kenneth Walker because Kenneth Walker, you see his back as he's going towards Eric Bieniemy. You see Eric Bieniemy facing the camera, and EB goes, "Oh, that's funny, right? Get the hell out. Give me somebody else." And he goes, "That's bull bleep," loud. But he's sitting there talking to Kenneth Walker, and he looks at me, "Oh, that's funny, huh?" So apparently him yelling at him, Kenneth Walker smiled. "Oh, it's funny, huh? Get out. Give me somebody else here." And looks over him. "That's bull bleep." Like, it's day number 2.
Wow.
It's already. "Oh, you're going to smile while I'm coaching you? Oh, that's hilarious, huh? Get the hell out of my huddle."
There's no one that takes less bleep than Bieniemy.
Yeah. I mean.
Don't smile in front of the man.
Like, honestly, like, Are we looking at coaches from a year ago? If they signed Kenneth Walker, and I mean, geez, the running back coach last year escapes me already. The wide receiver from
Todd
the Eagles,
Pinkston?
Todd Pinkston. Thank you. I was going to say Pickett for some reason. Todd Pinkston and Matt Nagy. Kenneth Walker going back to the huddle, and Todd Pinkston talking to him. You think that same thing happens?
No, but I think you brought up a good point the other day of it's why it worked with Matt Nagy when he first came back.
Mm-hmm.
Because, okay, now the players who have been with BNN for so long, like finally we have a little reprieve, but we're gonna produce for this guy so we don't get yelled at because we don't, but you know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
Like it's different. And then all of a sudden, you get lackadaisical, you fall into the routine of, okay, so we know what we can skate by with. We know what we can get away with. We're not gonna get yelled at. Just do just enough. And then what happens? Well, then you fall into complacency. So what do you need? We need the hard ass back again.
Yep.
You almost have to every 2 to 3 years switch back and forth because again, I could see how Bieniemy's style could grate on people.
Yeah.
Not someone like Mahomes or maybe even Kelsey.
It might have graded on them too, but
who knows?
Yeah.
It could have, but
And maybe they were just used to it,
because I think that was a great point. Like every 2 to 3 years, you got to go from like a player's OC to a hard ass OC.
Yep. This guy's a real good clubhouse guy in baseball. Nope, you need a disciplinarian now. Here's Steve Spagnuolo.
Pretty good. I don't have any opening statements. I'll just open it up and let you all fire away. Yeah, some guys are getting a lot of, with Drew down, some other guys are getting a lot of reps, and I like what Jeff's been doing. Jack is a jack of all trades. You see, you guys, when you're watching, you see he plays every spot there, whether we're in sub, whether we're in base. I just think it's an opportunity with some of these guys out for those other guys to step up and get a lot of reps. Yeah. Now, I would agree with that. I think he's like a couple of these other guys that are in their second year. It makes a huge difference when you can come here to St. Joe's after your second wave of OTAs because they had their rookie year, and I just think they feel more comfortable when they get tired. It isn't as, taxing because you know a little bit more about the defense. Yeah. Always the first one is tackling, and that probably is preceded by what we call block destruction and getting off of blocks. And quite frankly, not so much today. I'd have to watch the film, but yesterday I didn't like the fact that a lot of run plays, and we're getting a lot more run plays than we used to. A lot of those run plays were going right down the middle of our defense. Now, we're not tackling, and it's not live, but I would like to see us be a little bit more physical. So I'm looking for the physicality, the tacking, the block destruction. Those would be the most important things.
Anything particular positionally, or sort of too all-encompassing to say?
Pretty much all-encompassing, although I do think I think we've had a secondary, a defensive backfield that has tackled pretty well over the years. And I'd like these new guys to come in and embrace that and be good on the back end. So I'll be looking for that, but really overall, all the tackling.
I know what the value of a week 1 preseason unofficial depth chart is.
Yeah, the value of it. Yeah.
The Snead and Noel as the starters and Fulton and Schiller as the backups. Is that kind of how you see it shaking out right now?
It's really hard. I can't really. I mean, it's on there. LJ's been in the league for a while. Noel has too. Probably why Brad did it that way. Neither LJ or Delane has really practiced very much. So we're way down the road on all of that. Health will be a big issue. Continuity, how many reps they've had going in, and we'll see when we get to the first game.
You also report that you're bringing in Emmanuel Osborne.
Yeah. Yeah.
The guy you've had around before.
Yeah, I always had an affection for E. It was disappointing the one year we had him in 2019 when I thought he was really coming on, and then he got hurt, and then we didn't have him at the end of the year. But I've always periodically been in touch with him. We got to get through the physical and all those other things, but if he's part of our group, I'll be excited about that. Yeah, it's not as quickly as I'd like to be honest with you. It's been a little slow moving, and Haloi Gilman, he's new. It's not like you have guys around some of these young corners that have been through it, so there's a learning curve for him. But it's going to take a little while and then we've got a bunch of guys that we think we might be banking on during the regular season that aren't even out there practicing, so it's going to take some time for that to come together.
Chris Jones has been a big part of this defense for a long time. What have you kind of seen out of him at this year's training camp with a little bit of an evolving roster?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm sure you've talked to Chris. If you haven't, you will. It's probably different for him. There's not a lot of guys he's looking at side by side that have been in the league as long as he has. Although I do think, you know, he relates well to these young guys. He's always willing to help out a little bit. I think for him, I think his work ethic himself and what he's doing, not helping anybody else, has been pretty good. I think during the practice today, I think Coach Reed kind of challenged him to kind of pick, and he did, and we need that. And Chris responds well with those kind of things when you ask him to do it. So he's been good that way.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, good. Thank you.
All right, there's Steve Spagnuolo, and he's talking about the third linebacker, Drew Tranquil, being down, and mentioned Jeffrey Bossa specifically, but then asked about L'Jarius Sneed and Noah Williams listed as a starter cornerback, and he said, well, I don't know, Sneed, LJ's been in the league a long time. That's probably why Brad did it that way. Brad G.
Love it.
Exactly, like we talked about. Here's Jalen Moore.
Left and right, both here and obviously placing both last year. Just wondering about that adjustment. Is much one for you, if you have a preference on which side?
Honestly, for me, throughout my career, I've been back and forth. But I mean, it's good to get the reps on either side because, I mean, at any point, anything can happen, and it's good to make sure that every one of our guys are, able to play multiple different positions and be able to play wherever your number's called at. So.
Do you have expectations for yourself? Just during this camp, obviously, competition, just your expectations for yourself?
I mean, honestly, getting my teammates better, improving every day, and trying to be the best version of myself daily for my teammates, just to be able to be the best version of myself and hopefully get the same out of them.
What have the last few days been like working next to?
I mean, it's been really good for the both of us. Obviously, him transitioning to that during this camp, he's been working in and out of both spots. So, I mean, it's been good for me as well. Just being able to, get camaraderie, being able to, be able to play with whoever, being able to communicate next to whoever, be able to get the job done however it needs to be done.
Joe, do you feel like competing with Khalil so strongly has really helped you sharpen yourself and felt like that kind of competition?
Honestly, we're all pushing each other to get better every single day. Regardless of what the depth chart looks like, how everything shakes out. I mean, it's good for him, good for me as well. We're all pushing each other in that room. So.
Kenneth Walker looks like he's had a great camp so far. Just for you as an offensive lineman, what's it been like to kind of see what he's been able to do?
He's a dog. I mean, I don't really know what to say. He is a freak. I mean, yeah, it's crazy to see. Sometimes you be like, I don't know how he did that, but I mean, it's awesome to see.
Jalen, outside of the competition aspect, it's your second retraining camp. Did you kind of change your approach going into it, being more comfortable knowing how to pace yourself through this month, essentially?
I wouldn't consider pacing yourself, but I mean, this coaching staff, Andy Reid's gonna get the most out of you, and he urges and pushes you to kind of step outside of your comfort zone and not pace yourself. That's the biggest thing we want to get out of each other, is making sure we're not pacing ourselves and keeping the push forward and making ourselves uncomfortable. So.
Yeah, when you go back to San Francisco, going in and out of the lineup and moving around, you always seem to handle that incredibly well. What's the key to kind of maintaining that balance in your career? Switching positions and going back and forth and starting and back.
Honestly, it's just, it's been what I've been doing my entire career. So, I mean, if anybody, I understand that anything can happen at a moment's notice, and just making sure you're preparing every day, even if you're not playing or don't even think you're going to play. I always tell the young guys that, no matter how it looks right now, the way the season goes, at some point you're probably going to have to be in, and the last thing you want to feel is not prepared when that opportunity comes. So. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
What would it mean to you if you were a starter on opening night?
It would mean everything. That's what we all work for and strive for. So, however it shakes out, we're all just trying to get better and improve every single day. So.
Thank you, Jalen. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, there's Jalen Moore and playing right tackle behind Benson, but with Trey Smith out playing right tackle with Benson moving to right guard, and saying it's good for both because he needs to be able to communicate with whoever else is at right guard. Also saying K9, Kenneth Walker, he's a dog. Yeah, it's K9. Rasheed Rice.
To know about me now? I'm 100% locked in on what's going on now with the team. Ready to go out there and dominate, and that I got a good group of brotherhood behind me. I learned an experience, a reality check, and don't focus on the past, focus on what's going on now.
Obviously, with everything you've gone through, mentally, how are you doing?
I'm doing good mentally. I got the right group of guys around me. Just good agents, good coaches. Small circle on anybody else outside that's not part of the football team. Just keeping my head straight and also keeping me in a positive attitude.
Within that circle, who do you lean on the most?
I mean, I had times where I could talk to my trainers. Times where me and Pat are during the summer just grinding in the facility, just me and him and the trainers. So it's always good to keep building that relationship on and off the field, and just kind of having somebody that you know will always back you, have support for them.
Just considering your rehab and was during the week, I guess how do you feel like the rehab process went?
I think it went good. I was in there early in the morning until it was time for me to go, as much as I could work, and just constantly doing that over and over. Just kind of basically believing in what they had dialed up for me to make sure my knee was strong and ready for the field.
It's obviously contract season for you. I guess how motivating is even that factor? Setting yourself up for the future.
I mean, it's motivating. Honestly, just being able to be back on the field with my brothers right now is motivating. So that's in the future right now. Right now, I'm just focused on what's going on right now, and that's getting better for the team. Honestly, I thought it was probably just a little bit of swelling. I didn't know it was something that needed to have surgery. So we kind of taught to just keep going until you can't anymore. And it was a perfect time for me to get it cleaned up so that it wouldn't affect me for this season. So I was ready to go regardless.
You know, most people only know you, fans only know you from headlines and stories. How do you explain who you are to people who only know you from headlines?
I would say I'm a positive guy. I'm a great person to feed off as far as energy. A smiling guy mostly at all times. Unless it's time for work, I'm serious. And then I'm a father, so I take most responsibility in being a good father to my boys.
Where do you want to improve the most this year? Where do you want to improve the most this year?
Where do I want to improve the most? Honestly, I would want to improve the most on certain plays that I know specifically aren't coming to me, just because it's a full concept and everybody's going to eat and everybody got to get the ball.
Can you detail what your rehab was like? How you did rehab the knee?
Yeah, I mean, I would stretch it, do some activation on it, and then hit the weight room, and then jogging the Ultra G, and just condition, getting the muscle fatigue going as well as my stamina up.
You mentioned just your smiling nature on it. We started to see it. Was it tough that month?
I've had surgery before. I would say the best part about it was being able to be in there with Pat, knowing that he had a more serious surgery and how hard he was working. It just kind of motivated me. And then he pulling up in the craziest cars every day, so he's just my motivation every morning.
What about the jail time for that month?
Was that? Yeah, it was tough. It was mentally tough. They gave me ways to communicate with my teammates still, and as well as my athletic trainer. So, I mean, besides the hard times in there, I kept my mind right, watching shows and as much Kevin Hart as I can to laugh. And then without that, just communicating with everybody on the outside.
Rasheed, you said you learned a lesson from this. What is that lesson you say you learned?
Honestly, it's just a reality check and not taking anything for granted.
When it comes to part of the new coaching staff, what has jumped out to you most about Chad O'Shea, how he leads that room, and what the enemy is like on the field as our black?
Yeah, real detailed. Detailed on the things that aren't really things that are looked upon as far as like when you don't have the ball finishing to go block. We got a crazy running back K9, so there's no telling where the ball's gonna end up at the end of the play. We got guys like Cyrus Allen and Taekwon that's gonna run down the field, might just need one more block. So as far as being in the room with O'Shea, is details, and being on the field, it's just kind of hectic situations and staying calm at that moment.
Last couple, Matt and Steve. Go ahead, Matt. You really haven't had a chance yet where you're on the field, Xavier, Taekwon, and Cyrus and Malcolm available at the same time. What do you feel like that quartet can do together if you are healthy and you are playing together?
We're going to do some amazing things, not only because we're great receivers, but because we got a good coaching staff around us, as well as a good quarterback and a foundation in general.
You mentioned having kids. I know you got a lot of young guys that look up to you, whether they're Pop Warner all the way up to high school. What would your message be to those guys that may be going through?
Find someone that you can lean on, find someone that you can talk to, and just basically don't be scared to vocalize yourself and say exactly what's on your mind, because somebody else is going through the same thing. Too many people in the world to not go through the same thing.
All right, thanks, G. Appreciate it.
All right, there is Rashee Rice sounding more mature. Rashee Rice, all you can hope for is that from what took place this summer, that there is that lesson learned, that he does become more mature, that he does that he is more aware of the choices that he's making and the long-term impact of that for himself and certainly his teammates and his team and his job, career, his bosses, all of that stuff. And on the field, something specifically he talked about, which I think is a big deal, but here's Andrew Armstrong.
I think it's going great. Just going in there, learning new things. Like if I mess up on anything, like getting the coaching from the coaches. That's what I really love. Like getting coached hard. So just being out there and doing the best that I can be, being the best that I can be, and doing everything that I can to be successful, not only for myself but for the team.
What are some things that Matt has kind of talked with you about that have already helped you just for a couple of years?
Oh, just the small things like a dip on the route, or just getting in and out of a break, or getting the eyes back to the QB faster, things like that. Like those are things I love. Like I want to learn and want to be great. So those are a couple things that he taught me.
I feel like you're starting to get a little bit more trust from them and look your way a little bit more.
I mean, yeah, I hope so. Yeah, like I've been out there, just doing the best that I can be, being the best that I can be, and just like I said, learning, going in to the playbook, and I think that's one of the main goals is being trustworthy for the quarterback, and I feel like I'm trying to build that with him.
What makes Kansas City attractive from the outside looking in when you sign up here?
Just like I said, my family's here. Like this has been my team. This has been my favorite team since I was a little kid. So just I don't not even worry about like the city life and things like that. I'm here to play football and being around the team and just the seriousness of it all. Like I really want to be around a serious environment. This is an extremely serious environment. I love that.
How does it go, man, for you when you run through the tunnel on Saturday?
Oh, it's gonna feel great. Like just looking and seeing all the red. Like that's playing. It's different playing on the game than being in real life. So I know it's gonna feel amazing.
You got a lot of family coming.
Oh, I got a couple people coming. My mom, my dad, my wife, my brothers, and my aunt. They'll be there for this game.
Matt. Andrew, you were kind of unheralded coming out of high school and everything, then going to the A&M Commerce.
Mm-hmm.
What were you in high school as a football player? Where have you kind of come from?
When I was in high school, it was a lot of moving around. I was at DeSoto High School at first, then I went to Bishop Dunn Catholic School, and I didn't get recruited too much, so I ended up going to Commerce. Didn't play at Commerce for the first 3 years. I really played my full year. It was my senior year there, and did good. Ended up leaving, going to Arkansas, and just my journey was just a little different from everybody. But I always put that on myself as nobody's journey is the same. Like, I can't focus on somebody. Oh, he went to the league or NFL from 3 years, or he went from 4. Like, my journey is my journey, and that's the main thing I've been focused on. And I know that once I get out there and show what I can do and be the best player I can be, like I feel like I've accomplished something.
We'll go a few more.
When you didn't make Miami, I guess, how did you respond to that? How did you stay positive and end up, in a place like this?
I know the type of player that I am. And so when I left Miami, I just continued to work, continued to grind, continued to try to be the best me that I can be. So just continue in and out, working Monday through Friday. You can ask my mom, like Monday, I'm up early, 6 a.m., getting back home around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, just grinding. And I knew that time would come, and I'm here now, and I'm ready to just work and be the best player I can be.
Good. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
All right, there's Andrew Armstrong, who was listed on the depth chart behind Tyquan Thornton, 6'4", 210. Second year in the NFL, undrafted out of Arkansas, but spent the first 3 years of his career at Texas A&M Commerce after being unranked out of high school, undrafted out of college, and his third NFL team he's been a part of so far, because Miami, and then he signed with Detroit for a month on their practice squad, and then released and then signed with the Chiefs in January to a reserve futures contract. And so he's, as much talk as there's been about Cyrus Allen, low key, Andrew Armstrong is clearly making some headway, as he would be listed as the 6th wide receiver for the Chiefs right now. Or, I mean, he's listed in the backup of the 3, so he would be listed in the top 6. But who knows? He could be 5 ahead of Jalen Royals. He could be, 6th behind Jalen Royals. No idea, because it's just the backups are Allen, Royals, and Armstrong, but that could go in any particular order. He's just listed as the backup to Tyquan Thornton.
And a unique wide receiver for this particular team.
Yeah.
6'4",
210.
20, yeah.
Well, 202 coming out, but he's listed at 210 now.
Yeah, so he's gained, which makes sense. He probably gained some muscle.
Year. Yeah. Ran a 4.5, almost at a 6.5. Ran a 4.5 40.
I could run 6.5.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think I could do it.
You tear once you tear your hamstring and you got a hop there, it's going to be like more like an 8.2 that you'll run your 40. But ran a 4.5 coming out of college. But also lifelong Chiefs fan. Dad and extended family lives in Kansas City. He grew up in Dallas, but Dad lives in Kansas City. So his story when they, over the summer when we were hearing about him at different mini camps and OTAs, his story was that he spent a lot of time in Kansas City, family reunions, visiting his dad, all of that stuff. And because his dad has been a lifelong Chiefs fan his entire life, Andrew Armstrong, while living in Dallas, was a diehard lifelong Chiefs fan. And now, second year in the league, he's playing for the Chiefs. And he will be running out of the tunnel on Saturday in a Chiefs uniform with his dad there as a lifelong Chiefs fan. Imagine that for the dad.
Yeah.
Imagine that, to see your son, lifelong Chiefs fan, your boy unranked out of high school as a wide receiver, goes to Texas A&M Commerce, goes to Arkansas, good career, undrafted, bouncing around, and 1 year later, you're at a football game, preseason or not, and your son's running out of the tunnel wearing a Chiefs jersey as you've been a lifelong Chiefs fan yourself. So that's a cool story, and hopefully it's an even better story if he makes the squad and has an impact.
Yeah.
Not just, he's on the team, that's a really cool story, but he's not any good. Like, all right, well, cool for the family, but for the Chiefs, how much does that help him? But if he's a good player, role player, and can be a guy maybe, red zone target at 6'4", maybe that's how they use him. I don't know. But also interesting to hear when, in fact, let's take a timeout. Let's take a timeout, and I'm going to talk about what I heard from Rashee Rice. That's obviously the big takeaway from today is Rashee Rice talking, what he had to say, lessons learned, time spent in jail, mental side of it, on the field, Chad O'Shea, Eric Bieniemy as the coach. We'll talk about the things that we heard from Rashee Rice and one specific thing on the field, which could go a long way for what this team could be this year. We'll talk about that next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We talked a little bit about the first unofficial depth chart that was released by the Chiefs. They do that the Monday, the Tuesday of the first preseason game. And we look back at the last couple of years, the first unofficial depth chart and how it relates to especially the offensive line and who's been running with the ones in those camp battles we've talked about with Kingsley and Wanya Morris, Simmons and Jalen Moore, Kingsley and whoever else at left guard. And we've seen those guys that were running with the ones early in pads and continued to run with the ones have been the starters in week number 1. We've also seen those guys listed as the first string on the first depth chart. And this one has Jalen Moore over Khalil Benson. So something to keep in mind. But also then asked by the media to Steve Spagnuolo about the value of the unofficial depth chart and said, was asked about L'Jarius Sneed and Noel Williams being the starters. And he said, I guess you could look at it that LJ has been in the league a while, Noel returning. It's probably why Brad did it that way. Brad G.
That was hilarious. That was perfect.
And we had talked about in the first hour, like, take all of this with a grain of salt, because the first unofficial depth chart is pretty much done by the PR staff of just like, hey, this is what we're seeing. This is what we'll put as the depth chart. But Mansour Delane also is not playing. He's got the yellow jersey. He's had pads on, been out there the last few practices with pads on, but not hitting, guarding, and things like that, but still non-contact. So maybe that's why Mansour Delane is listed behind Noel Williams and Christian Fulton listed behind L'Jarius Sneed. If healthy, Mansour Delane would be starting. Maybe opposite Noel, maybe opposite L'Jarius Sneed. Who knows? We'll find out. But I thought that was funny, where he said, that's probably why Brad did it that way, not why Dave and I did it that way to set up the depth chart. So also something to keep in mind when talking about the secondary, and he said it's a little slow coming along. So, Spags is not afraid to tell you what's going on. I mean, he talked a few years ago about the disappointment in Josh Williams and Jalen Watson going into their second year, that we thought there would be an improvement. We thought they would take a bigger step up in the offseason than what we're seeing. And so somebody's got to win the job. Talked last year about the disappointment in Jaden Hicks and what he wasn't doing last year. Then talked earlier in training camp about Jaden Hicks and said, well, this year we're going to try to make him someone who masters one particular thing. Instead of trying to be a jack of all trades and master of none and throw a lot of things at him, parentheses, like we did last year, in parentheses, we're giving him one role to be the best he can be at that role. Then maybe you layer on at that point. So he's been pretty honest with some of those things. And he said, secondary come along, it's pretty slow right now. And he said, look, Alohi Gilman is new and, communication and stuff, and said, look, it's going to take some time for these guys to come together. So he's not blowing smoke about, oh, it looks amazing. Mansour isn't out there, but we're good,
Yeah.
LJ looks amazing, also not practicing. Noel Williams looks awesome. Alohi is controlling everything. Hicks has stepped up. Connor now. Like, you could have a coach that just could be like, oh, everything's awesome. Spags doesn't give you that. He'll tell you the truth. It's going to take some time to come together, something to keep in mind through preseason and also the first 3-4 weeks of the season.
Yeah, this totally feels like the defense of 22 or even before when
2019 when he said it's going to take a while, and it wasn't until the second half that defense turned out to be pretty legit.
And then you go the first half, you go, what are we doing here? And then the second half, you go, all right, I see the vision.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Don't panic. First half of the year defensively, don't panic.
Yep. Although first half of the year is when they need to win a lot of games.
Correct.
So, we'll see what happens with that. I do want to get into Rashee Rice a little bit more time next. We'll talk with Les Norman coming up about 15 minutes from now, breaking the norm with Les Norman. Let's talk about what we heard from Rashee Rice, talking for the first time since everything happened, said that things that people should know about you. He said that I'm 100% locked in. He was asked about what would you tell people that don't know who you are or only know you because of the headlines. He said a positive guy, bring energy, father, all of that stuff. He was asked what that month was like with rehabbing. And then he talks about the specific rehab exercises that he did and not the what was that month like to try to rehab while you were in prison, not the
jail.
Yeah, jail. Thank you. While you were in jail. No, it is. Absolutely. It is. I think that's the first time I've said prison.
It is.
I've said jail every time.
You've said jail every time.
While you were in jail. But went through like the specific exercises, which isn't necessarily what the question was, but then asked what was that month like in jail. And he said, it was tough mentally, was able to communicate, tried to keep your mind right, and talk to different people. Lessons that he learned, he said it was a reality check. Don't take anything for granted. He answered a lot of things the right way. Sounded contrite. We'll see. That's ultimately what it is. You can sound that way, but will you be that guy?
Way more open this time than the last time.
Is it a true lesson learned for Rashee Rice? Now, we also heard after the car accident, lesson learned, got to be smart.
Full responsibility.
Decision-making needs to be better. People you surround yourself with. We heard a good portion of the same things the last time. Maybe this time it'll stick, and it's an even bigger reality check.
I mean, he's 26. He's not. This is not a 17-year-old kid. This is a 26-year-old man.
Absolutely. So those things off the field, it's still part of Rashee Rice's overall story and his overall profile of an NFL player going into a contract year. He also talked about having the right people around me, keep a small circle outside of, the teammates. And, talking to trainers, talking to Pat. Also couldn't help but mention all the cool cars that Pat showed up in day after day. Look, Rashee Rice is a car guy. Let him be a car guy. Just don't be dumb and drive that fast. He can be a car guy. Just don't, race the cars. That's all.
Get him like
or go to a specific race track.
Or like
you want a governor on his car?
A governor on his car. Yeah,
Hello, governor?
like a golf cart.
Hello,
like
governor.
You can only go like 23 miles an hour. Like,
but what if he takes the restrictor plate off that bad boy?
He can go 73. That's
Red
the
Dragon,
most.
a little more juice.
73 is the max his cars can go.
Yeah, that would be great. He's got this amazing souped-up car, but he hits the NOS and it goes up to 75.
Yeah.
The governor has it at 73. The NOS only gives you 2 more miles an hour up to 75.
Smart.
That's exactly right.
I'm on to something here.
Yes. On the field, what he said that I think will go a long way and maybe proof of the difference with Nagy and Connor Embry as opposed to EB and Chad O'Shea. One of the biggest beefs I had for Rashee Rice last year was he would quit on plays. Mm-hmm. One of the plays in particular, he wasn't the main target, and he was jogging down the middle of the field. While not being the main target, Patrick Mahomes then looks to throw on the ball because he's open, but he sees the back of Rashee Rice's helmet. That's an issue. Quitting on plays that are the second play. There was a play that you watch with the broadcast tape where Mahomes is rolling to his right, he throws back left, and it just falls about 8 yards to Rashee Rice's right in the middle of the field. And at that point you go, oh my God, like Mahomes just missed him. There's all that space for Rashee to run. Mahomes just threw it too far. Then you watch the All-22, and Mahomes is rolling to his right, and he sees Rasheed get ready to cut what would be the open field, and then Rasheed just stops and turns around and sits there. And Mahomes throws the ball into what would be wide open space for Rasheed to catch it and run. But he just stopped running instead of working on the second play. So he just quit on that play. We've seen him oftentimes not blocking downfield, kind of just going through the motions. And we talked about how that flew in the face of everybody saying, or the wide receiver saying, everybody got to eat. Everybody got to eat, except for the fact when he wasn't eating, he didn't really care about helping serve the food.
Correct.
Everybody's got to eat, but if I'm not eating, I don't really need to help. I'm not setting the table. I'm not cleaning up after. Not getting any silverware. Not getting anybody refills. Not going to grab a napkin for anybody. I'm just going to chill right here while everybody else eats. Not going to do much to help. But what he said was, he was asked about how do you improve this year? What are you looking on to improve this year? And he said, there are certain plays when the ball is not coming to me, everybody got to eat. I've got to still be working, blocking downfield, doing what I'm supposed to be doing. That's what he wants to improve on. He was asked about what Chad O'Shea and Eric Bieniemy are like, and he said detailed, but not just like some regular. Said if I don't have the ball, I still have to finish and block. Guys like, he said, Cyrus and Taekwon down the field, I've got to still go and finish the play and block. You think that Eric Bieniemy and Chad O'Shea got in there and said, hey, Rasheed, if you're going to play this year, this play, not going to cut it. You won't be playing. If this is what we see, your ass is coming out of the game. You're not playing. So how do you improve this year? If the ball's not coming to you, don't be selfish. If you truly believe that everybody got to eat, then be fine with other people eating. Still do your work and what you're supposed to do. Because while, Sterling, we can make fun of, Justin Watson being the teacher's pet and sitting in the front row, and that's why he played, he never dogged it on a route when he was the decoy.
Sure.
I'm running this route because I need to take this defender over here. The ball's not coming to me, but my job is to run this route and take the defender this way. When the ball wasn't going to Rasheed Rice, not really putting in the work for the most part, every time. It's not taking a play off here or there. It's taking no plays off.
Well, and I think if you are, honestly, I'm only being semi-facetious, but not really. I wonder if they just set him down and said, hey, man, if you want those Patrick Mahomes cars, you see what he's driving, you see what he's rocking, if you want those, you can't dog it.
If you want to own them and not just lease them,
But incentives.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you have to get it.
Yeah.
This was a guy who says, I want JSN money. Remember that on the podcast? And
on the live stream, whatever it was.
It was absurd. It was asinine. And so for me, if you want to be a guy who gets the best out of Rasheed, you go, okay, so you want all this money, right? Well, you want these cars, right? Not lease, to own them. I'm going to put a governor on them. We know this. But if you want...
if you have them, we're still going to slow them down.
We're still going to slow them Johns down. But if you want these cars, you want all of this. You want the money. You want the jewelry and all that stuff. You got to run every single route. You can't be a slant merchant.
Yeah.
You can't stop and give up on plays when the ball's not coming to you. You say you're a jovial guy. You're a happy dude. You're always smiling. That's great and all, but your teammates don't feel that when you're giving up on plays, and it shows the defense,
Yep.
Hey, the ball ain't going to you. So now you're playing 11 on 10.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about when Justin Reed had the interception against the Steelers on Christmas Day. Russell Wilson threw the ball down the field, in the middle of the field, and it was like, what the hell is he doing? How is he throwing it to that guy? Justin Reed is standing right there to intercept the ball. And when you go back and look at the play of the All-22, Justin Reed had over-the-top coverage on George Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
Pickens' job was clearly to get down the field and to take the safety away from the middle of the field. Russell Wilson reading the play saying, this safety's going that way because of Pickens, meaning this middle of the field's going to be wide open. Problem is George Pickens just took a couple of steps and then stopped.
Yeah.
Because the ball wasn't coming to him. Allowing Justin Reed to freelance and then go to the middle of the field and intercept the ball. Well, that's what happens when plays are designed specifically for people to be in certain places to take a defender from here or there, and the quarterback's reading it and going, this guy's not going to be there because this guy over there. This wide receiver is doing that. But when the wide receiver doesn't do that, it can create problems for the quarterback. And there is that, again, one specific play, but it could have been others. I don't know. It's just one specific play that we know that you can see in the All-22 that Mahomes then locks eyes and is thinking about throwing it, but he just sees Rashee Rice back of the helmet jogging down the field.
Yeah.
And then he's got to tuck it and take off.
Well, and sometimes, again, to that point, you don't know, even the play's not meant for you, doesn't mean you will not get the ball.
And I think that's part of it is where it's like, okay, certain plays not coming to me. I've still got to go and do what I'm supposed to be doing. And there's an annoyance. Because why in the hell was he not doing that before? One, it's personal responsibility. It's pride in your work. It's how hard you play. If you say you're a grinder and you're a hard worker, you're not. Because it's easy to say that. It's a different thing to actually go and do that. A grinder and a hard worker is that no matter the play, if it's coming to you or not, I'm going to do everything I can on this play to create for my teammates. Don't tell me everybody got to eat and then you don't actually care or you take offense or you're going to be lazy when somebody else is eating. So there's part of the personal responsibility. Also, how was he not coached to go and do these things? And if he wasn't doing it, I'm not going to play you.
It's also
Get your ass on the bench.
It's also the frustration of you see the talent, you know he's good enough. We see he could be a guy who could be a top-end wide receiver 2 or maybe a back-end wide receiver 1 in an offense if he were to put it all together. And so when you see the talent, I think you get even more frustrated with the plays off. Because even with what he's done so far, it's still not George Pickens.
Yeah, right.
Right. But like George Pickens, I think the frustration was he couldn't do it consistently. He would take plays off, all of those things. Well, then he got to Dallas, and quite frankly, I don't know if CeeDee Lamb, again, speaking with CeeDee Lamb and seeing how hard of a worker he is and all the things, I had an appreciation for him, and CeeDee felt like him and George had this relationship of, hey, you know what? We're going to do this together. And it works because I think we've seen George Pickens take that next step.
Might be a front runner that, well, now I'm having fun, so I'm going to work, and it wasn't as much fun in Pittsburgh. And so kind of just going through the motions. Oh, wait, this offense is great. Let's have fun. I'm working.
And so I just, if there was ever a year for Rashee Rice to have a massive year and prove that he is deserving, again, not a JSN contract, but a bigger deal, maybe Alec Pierce type contract. This is the year to do it. You have to stay out of trouble off the field. That's first and foremost. If you get in trouble again, your NFL career might be done.
Yeah.
Number 2, not taking plays off. Number 3, showing the full route tree.
Yeah.
I think those are the 3 big things for Rashee Rice. If he does those 3 things, maybe it won't be in Kansas City. That dude's going to get some money, though.
Yeah, because if I'm Eric Bieniemy and I'm Chad O'Shea, here are the details that you need to work on when the ball's not coming to you. Because I can promise you this, if you're not doing that when the ball's not coming to you, you ain't getting the ball. You won't be out there when the ball would go to you. It's all or nothing. You're all in or you're out on the sideline. That should be the expectation every time and not, well, who else is going to play if it's not Rashee Rice? We got to put him out there. Okay, well, now you've handcuffed yourself. You know, if you're Eric Bieniemy, Chad O'Shea, you know who's going to play? Anybody but you.
Yeah.
Because at least I expect Andrew Armstrong or Jalen Royals or, Jason Brownlee to, when the ball isn't going their way, to work hard because they're appreciative that they've got a job and they're playing. You aren't going to put up the numbers if you're not on the field. And you won't be on the field if you're going to be quitting on plays. They're your details. As he said, what's Chad O'Shea and Eric Bieniemy like? Details. But details with when I'm not getting the ball to still finish and block. Thank you. I love that somebody else was seeing this. Somehow the coaches last year for the Chiefs either didn't see it or didn't care. Both of them were an issue. It's like in the casino. Either you were in on it or you're too stupid to know that this scheme was going on. Either way, you're fired. All right? Either you didn't care that he was taking plays off or you didn't coach him to do that. Either way, get the hell out. Bring somebody else in that's going to do that. More Zone next with Les Norman. All right, let's talk some baseball. Les Norman, Breaking the Norm, presented by TruckMovers.com and First Federal Bank of Kansas City. Big bank protection with community bank connection. Les Norman with us on a Tuesday. Les, welcome into the show. How are you, sir?
Doing very well, fellas. How are my boys today?
We are good. Just so you know, Sterling is not in here. He said he had to go and record some stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's because we might be talking about Jack Caglione. I'm not sure what the reason behind that is, but we are doing good. Les, I'm assuming you're just going through and studying the first unofficial depth chart for the Chiefs. That's all morning for you?
Yeah, I was busy doing that today, yeah.
I knew it. I knew it. I know you. I know you more than you know yourself, man. Les Norman is our guest. Let's talk some baseball here. Look, I would have hoped that this would have been the case, but not sure I would have expected it this year with Jack Caglione from what he was doing early in the year to Les not even getting opportunities to go up against left-handed pitching. And, we were asking for him to get more opportunity, also acknowledging there's certainly a world where Caglione is hitting the way that he is because they are handling him that way. He started getting more opportunities. But we see it last night, Les. 2-2 pitch number 8 of the at-bat, finds a way to put it in play, gets it up the middle for an RBI single, and then 0-2 pitch, 5th pitch of the at-bat after fouling off a couple of pitches, 0-2 to stay alive, and 110 into right center, both off Tariq Skubal, one of the toughest lefties in the game. What do you make of Cags, what he's doing now, and his progression from they're not letting him see lefties to 3 runs on the board last night in the first few innings because Cags, and 2 outs and 2 strikes, both of them, on Skubal?
Yeah, I think that obviously they were trying to protect him and just ease him into that kind of role, and they didn't want him mentally or emotionally to get down because you could see it on his face. But the other side of that makes me think, okay, how many 1-run games did we lose that he wasn't in the lineup? I haven't looked at it, or how many 2-3-run games that he wasn't in the lineup. That if he was, then for me, you're going to get better when you see pitches. And so if it was just a mental and emotional thing to mature him, okay. But regardless of that, I'm just glad he's in the lineup now. And the thing that I really like is he's starting to hit mistakes. Skubal doesn't walk a lot of people. He also doesn't leave many 0-2s right down the middle. Yeah. But when Jack is fouling balls off and fighting to stay alive and then crushing a mistake, it really shows you that he's matured. He's not getting out front. He's hitting fastballs. He's hitting sliders, sweepers. He's hitting changeups. He's hitting everything, and it leads me to believe that he's not looking for specific pitches and jumping at the ball. He's looking zone. He's understanding the game. He's widening his zone with 2 strikes. He's not trying to do too much. He'll hit a little jam shot, single up the middle because he's strong, because he takes what the bat and what the game gives to him. And I think you're starting to see the makings of a superstar. That's what
the hope is. And we talked in the first hour, Les, Sterling and Michael and I, and talking about Cags and what he is and what he can be moving forward. And we all came and agreed that in this offseason, if we were J.J. Piccolo and John Sherman, we would approach Jack Caglione on working out a contract extension. Takes 2 to tango. He'd have to be up for it. But are you on board if the Royals see what they have in Jack Caglione, or see what they have seen from him to this point, and this offseason they try to do something long-term? I said minimum 7 years because that would buy out 2 years of free agency. I don't know that you need to sign him to a contract that only takes him through what would arbitration be anyway. If you're going to sign him, you want to take a couple of years of free agency and have him be with the Royals. But is that a strategy? Is that something you would do this offseason, is look to get Jack Caglione to an extension?
Yeah, absolutely I would. And I like your idea of getting him through the arbitration years as well. If he started off slow and this is an off season for him, I think he's at 21 home runs right now.
Yeah.
Right around that 50 RBI mark. So, what is he going to do? Is he going to hit 30 home runs and drive in 90 in an off year? And you're not going to sign that guy? Are you kidding? So I would absolutely sign him. I know that, John Sherman has not shied away, it seems, from contracts. And so, in my opinion, why would you not? You're trying to get players working around Bobby Witt Jr., and this is a guy that hits right behind him and offers him protection. You're not just signing for his bat. You're signing for Bobby to get more pitches, too. And so I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, he's now above 800 OPS for Cags in his 662 plate appearances now. He's got a career 711 OPS because last year was pretty rough with his batting average of 157 and his on base of 237. But that's okay because he slugged 295 last year. He just did not look like the guy that he did through the minors, and he spent the offseason, approaching it from the mental aspect of how to be better and how to, keep the game between the ears not being too big for you to allow then your ability to go out and show on the field. And he's had some stretches that's been pretty rough for him this year. And he's also had some stretches when he has just been unbelievably hot, and the power and the home runs that come through. And these, 2 of the last 3 games, he's got 2 home runs and 2 doubles on Saturday. And then he's responsible for all 3 runs in the first few innings against Tariq Skubal with a home run and a single up the middle. Like, I think one thing I learned on Saturday, and we've known it before, Les, but you see that what we know about Bobby, but Jack Caglione is also a guy that on a given night, he's in your lineup and he can be your offense to help you win a game. Like, just his 4 at-bats, his opportunities, you win because that guy's offense was there.
Yeah, when you get into a pitching duel, he's a guy that can put you on the good side of that, and it only takes 1 pitch. And so, I think that's a great point. He brings so much to the game. If you're going to long-term sign him, this goes back to our talk last week that you need to put him at first base more. Because if you're going to sign him long-term, then don't risk him not being able to athletically, physically live up to that length of contract. So, put him at first base. But yeah, to your point, man, he can do a lot. He can do a lot in close games. He can do a lot for the guys around him. When there's a guy that is in your lineup, and even if you're hitting 6 or 7, he's making pitchers pitch differently because they're afraid of him in the lineup. You're going to get better pitches to hit. When I wasn't going good, I liked the fact that I had a guy in the lineup that was crushing the ball and that they were afraid of, because the pitcher's mind is divided, and he's going to make a mistake, and it's going to give me more confidence. And, hitting at that level is so much more mental and confidence driven than it is physical. Otherwise you wouldn't be there. So Jack is a lot better. He's going to make Bobby Witt Jr. better, but he's going to make a lot of guys better because he's just creating havoc with a pitching staff. He gets through starters quicker and gets you to a bullpen quicker, which helps you in game 3 and 4 of a series. So, I mean, if I had an hour, I could probably come up with another 5 to 10 reasons why Jack being hot is going to be good for a lineup and good for a team. And it's just great to see.
Yeah, I talked about too in the first hour, Les, that you need both sides. So you need the Royals to be willing to sign him, and you need that guy to be willing to sign the contract as well. And they approached Bobby Witt Jr. after 2023, so going into the 2024 season, and they got that deal done. Had they not been willing to sign on and buy 3 years of Bobby Witt's free agency, which is a big deal. So for 3 years that he would have been a free agent, he's going to be a Kansas City Royal. That's before the opt-outs. So they bought out 3 years of free agency. If they didn't do that, Les, the Royals, he might have been traded 8 days ago, because he would be a free agent after 2027. So you would be saying, do you maximize Bobby Witt right now with another year of service or another year of team control to who you're trading him to, or do you do that in the offseason? Because if you're this close to him being a free agent, he ain't signing a long-term deal now. So you had to do it a few years ago, or you wait till he becomes a free agent, like the Tigers were dealing with last year with Tariq Skubal when he was heading towards back-to-back Cy Youngs. They couldn't get him signed to a long-term deal. At that point, he was going to wait and be a free agent like he's going to be at the end of this year and make a crazy amount of money. But in those 3 years less of his free agency, the 3 years that he would have been a free agent that they bought out, he's going to make $103 million in those 3 years. which is $34 million per year, for Bobby Witt as a 27, 28, and 29-year-old in baseball. I mean, that's probably saving maybe $16 to $20 million per year by signing him before the 2024 season, instead of saying, no, it's a little too rich, the money, can we invest that long term? What if he gets hurt? What if he's injured? What if he's not as good? No, they did that. He agreed to it, and they're going to save like $20 million maybe for what at least I would say $20 million at $54 million per year, because Juan Soto's getting 51. Kyle Tucker in the 2 years before his opt-out is getting 52 per year. Those guys are both outfielders that, are not the best shortstop in the game. So I'd say at least $20 million the Royals are saving by doing that with Bobby. Is Jack going to be that? I don't know. But I know if they didn't do that with Bobby, we're having a completely different conversation this summer and this offseason about trading Bobby Witt.
Yeah, I agree. And, what if you get to that point where you didn't do that and he's in his prime years, and then you let him walk, and now the Royals are back again to another rebuild. And we're in the same situation, and they're underperforming, or we're signing marginal corner outfielders again, and we've got 3 guys vying for second base, and you've got the same player and 7 different people. And man, I'm tired of having those conversations. I know you are too.
Yeah.
So I think every scenario you put out there points to them signing Jack to a long term.
Yeah, I hope that's the case, and we'll see. But yeah, the worst case scenario would have been you don't sign him to a long-term deal, Bobby, and then you don't trade him this offseason, free agent after 2027, and then you're right in the mix next year around the trade deadline, and you say, you know what, we got Bobby, we're going for it, and then, you don't do anything special and Bobby walks, and then you've got nothing to show for him. That would have been the worst case scenario. But they got it done, and they got a guy in his prime who is going to be a bargain for what other guys are making. This just popped into my head, apropos of absolutely nothing, and I haven't even thought about this conversation before. But do you think it's easier on your body to play right field or first base? What's a tougher physical position to play, right field or first base? It just popped into my head.
Watch it.
I just popped into my head. I don't know. I have no idea why that would come into my mind.
I didn't even need to know if Sterling had come back into the studio or not. I could just tell. For some reason, I could just tell he was back.
Hey, Les, real quick though, where is it easier to find production, in right field or at first base?
Different conversation.
In your bat. Find production in your bat.
That's right.
No, I know, Les.
But let's go the first conversation first. Les, what's more difficult on your body, playing right field or playing first base?
Outfield.
Okay.
Outfield every time. It's harder. You get more. You run into more walls. You have to sprint harder. You can pull muscles. You can get injured diving. It's more taxing on your arm, making those long throws as a guy goes first to third. First base is, there might be some agility and quick stuff there, but the throws aren't as far. You don't have to run as far. And, when you got good players that aren't throwing the ball all over the place, which we do, it's a lot harder to play outfield physically, and you're going to get hurt with a greater probability by being an outfielder.
Yeah, but hear me out. It's probably a good thing that Vinny doesn't play outfield then, because he would never be able to be on the field.
Well, he's hardly on the field at first base.
There was never anything that ever came into a conversation where Vinny was threatening to play outfield.
I'm being a smartass, but point...
Vinny's this year ILs have been because of swinging the bat.
I will say this, though.
To
me, I think it's a lot easier to find offensive production at first base than it is in right field. We talked about the lack of home runs that the Royals have had in the outfield for so long. I think that Kaggs' arm is good enough to where it does make up for a little bit lack of the potential range factor that he might have. I think for me, I would keep, if I had my druthers, I would keep Kaggs in right field, because I do think it's easier to find offensive production at first base, which then elongates your lineup. That's just my 2 cents.
I feel like that the Royals, it would be easy for the Royals to put him in the outfield, and he'd be fine. He's athletic and all that. But, as soon as he got hurt, you're thinking, oh, dang it, we should have done that. And, look, this is on the Royals to go out and find a good right fielder that can hit home runs and hit 280 to 320 somewhere in there and drive in 100 with a good arm. I mean, they're out there. They might not be readily available right now, but eventually you're going to have to get one. We've been through the cycle of having lack of production in right field. Don't limit the career of a guy that's going to hit 40 to 50 home runs for you annually here pretty soon, because you just you haven't drafted one or you haven't signed one when you have to fight to do that. So I'm not letting Jack, maybe once in a while, but I'm to the point now with what I've seen enough. I'm ready for Jack to play there every day.
I would just say the Royals also view him like that too, because if they view Jack as the right fielder, when Vinny got hurt, they wouldn't have Jack playing first base. But why is Jack pretty much the primary first baseman outside of when Salvi will play it from time to time? Jack's been their first baseman. So
they have more outfielders right now than first baseman.
I don't disagree, but if it's but they're not moving, Isbell to first base or John Ray. They're not putting John Ray at first base.
That's my point. They have because he can do both. They don't really have a traditional everyday first baseman on this team besides Vinny. They have more traditional everyday outfielders on this team besides.
But if you say this is our right fielder moving forward, then no reason to give him that first baseman's mitt and keep him and move him to first. But he's the regular first baseman now without Vinny. I think it's the same thing as if the Chiefs valued interior offensive lineman over left tackle, Joe Tooney would have stayed at left guard when they had the issues at left tackle. Instead, they valued left tackle more. They moved him out to left tackle, and they had a huge problem at left guard. If Kaggs was their right fielder of the future, then you need the reps that you need for him in right field to become a better defender in a season that's lost, and just let him, stay there and learn. But you also, how much of it less do you go into the offseason and examine that, he's the first baseman? Because how can you trust Vinny to be the first baseman if he continues to get injured? He's only getting older. Like, Vinny's not getting younger. The back was an issue when he came out of college. He's had the labrum. And I think it does matter with how violent his swing is, because he's had the hamate, he's had the back injury, he's had the torn labrum. Yes, he had the thumb on the injury when Lucas Erceg threw the ball a couple of years ago that cost him that IL stint, which was sort of a freak injury. But most of the other injuries for Vinny have been at the plate and swinging the bat. I think part of it is, can you trust Vinny to be healthy? And if you can't, then Kaggs needs to enter 2027 as your first baseman.
Agreed. I mean, I think he's proven to all of us that he can't. I mean, they're going to play him there if and when he's healthy, and that's fine. But look, as much as I've loved Vinny being there, and I love the 100 RBIs that he put up and all that, there's got to be something in the back of their mind. I mean, as an owner, as a general manager, as a front office, one of the thoughts has to be in their minds in scenario 3 or 4 that it's time to move on. And, we might be there because, again, you're right. You're not going to turn Vinny Pasquantino into a line drive hitter who's not going to drive in runs by saying, okay, you need to cut your swing down because we need you to be healthy. We need you to be on the field. And that's great. And we know you're a leader and you can scoop the ball and play first base. That's great. They didn't sign him. He's not built for that. He's built to drive in 100 home runs and have a little more of an aggressive, strong swing. He lost some weight. He got stronger. And that made him get more aggressive. He's just not built for a controlled swing. It's an aggressive swing. He's built to drive the ball, and it's cost him a labrum issue. It has cost him, and he's just one of those guys that gets hurt a lot, and that stinks. And it's not his fault because he works hard and he prepares. Sadly, though, that's just who he is. And so scenario 3 or whatever says, okay, we got to start making plans to move on.
Yeah, since he broke camp with the big league club, not in the season that he came up midseason in 2022, but the last 4 years he's been their, primary first baseman. He missed 100 games in 23, missed 30 games or 31 games in 24. Last year was awesome, played 160 out of 162, and this year he's already missed 41 games out of the 120 that they've played. So, I mean, that's every year that he's missing, at least 30-plus games since he's broken camp, including 100, and then however many more he'll miss this year since he's already at, 41 games that he's missed and counting for this year. Like, it's 1 year out of 4 when he was your everyday player and was out there playing. And that was also the year when he had 32 home runs and 113 RBIs. So, okay, if he's healthy and there all year, awesome. And consistency and almost an 800 OPS. But when he's been in and out of the lineup, that hasn't necessarily been what Vinny could be. So
75% of his career, full season career, has been spent with excessive time on the DL.
Yep.
Over 200 games in 4 years, or IL. He's been on the IL.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you going to focus on, okay, we just got to try to help him get back because we know he is the player that's going to hit 32 and drive in 113, 30 and 100. Okay. If you think that, that's fine. But 75% of his career, full season, he's not playing.
Yeah.
That's got to put that in the back of your mind that you got to start making alternate plans.
Yeah. It's a small sample size here. This comes from Joel Penfield, who we have on the show on Mondays. Small sample size here, so we know that. But looking at when when Jack plays right field versus playing first base, he has 281 plate appearances in right field this year, 113 plate appearances at first base. So, less than half at first base. But small sample size or not, in right field, he's OPSing at 790 with a slugging percentage of 455. He has 119 weighted runs created when he's in right field. As a first baseman, he's OPSing at 916 with a 624 slug and 146 weighted runs created. Again, it's a small sample size, but maybe there's correlation causation. Maybe he's at first base when the bat was going to start getting hot anyway. I think all of those things could be examined, but if it continues the rest of the way and it's that big of a gap, then I think it's definitely something the Royals have to take into account and say, okay, why then is he batting like this at first as opposed to right field? Is it too much on his body in right field? Is he worrying about too many things fielding-wise in right field, where he's now just more comfortable as a ball player in the dirt at first base, which then maybe creates his bat and his at-bats a little more comfortable?
Young guys in the outfield most likely tend to think a lot about their at-bats more. They're out there by themselves, and they're thinking, and the action's not as consistent. You don't get that luxury at first base, and sometimes that's a gift when you're trying to figure the game out, and you're young, or you're trying to get out of a slump or something like that. At first base, every single pitch, you got to think, I'm going to be part of this.
Yeah.
And so you don't have time to think, and that shuts the bad mental part of the game down, so you're not dwelling on things. You just, and by the way, inning's over, now I'm going to go hit. You're not thinking about the stuff you did bad. You're not dwelling on it. You're not getting mad. You're not just going south mentally. And so that can be a big help too for a guy like Jack, who can get a little fiery. If you're a lip reader, you probably see a few things every now and then.
Yeah, Bailey Ober.
So, yeah. So, I think that's just even another benefit of putting him at first base. He doesn't have time to think.
I didn't even think about that. I was thinking about like the reps you have and learning a new position on the fly and all of that stuff. That's what I was but standing out there with your thoughts and maybe thinking about and going through your at bat every single inning and all that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. Les Norman is our guest. Last one for you, Les.
Okay.
I brought this up last week, not with you, but we were talking about what J.J. Piccolo and his comments about, going around the diamond and, hey, we're good at first and catcher and second, and left field Collins and all of that stuff. Narratives are written at the beginning of the season and sort of held on to throughout the year, especially if it's a bad year. And the narrative and the story of Isaac Collins as a Royal was written in the first month and a half of the season when he was brutal. And defense, he was struggling, and he was taking bad routes, and he wasn't coming through in clutch situations, and he was OPSing like 500 or whatever it was. It was bad for Isaac Collins. But JJ mentions Isaac Collins in left field. In the last 42 games, Isaac Collins is OPSing at 806. And he would be pacing for, and he's not a slugger, but he would be pacing for 12 home runs, 10 triples and 42 doubles. So you're looking at 64 extra base hits for Isaac Collins and an OPS of 806 with 69 RBIs on the season, roughly. That's if you take the 42 games and you make it a full season. It's a quarter of a season for Isaac Collins. Do you think Collins is closer to that guy now that he's been with the Royals and the season is going on, or is this a 40-game stretch that you're an everyday player in baseball and you've got Rookie of the Year votes and a team thinks you're pretty good, you might have a stretch of games where you're OPSing 800 in Major League Baseball, which seems pretty flippant, so I'm not trying to just dismiss an 800 OPS over 40 games, but how would you view Isaac Collins from the narrative that was written about him early in the year when he was just not good to playing better defense, making diving catches, and OPSing at 800?
Yeah, I've seen a pretty strong improvement in him on both the defense and offensive side. I don't like him in right field. He should never be there. I think that he's improved enough that he gives you some hope in left field, and I think that he has the potential to be that guy you're talking about. Now, 42 doubles and 10 triples, maybe, close, sure, maybe 30, but yeah, I mean, if that works out, that's great. I like the swings he takes at the pitches that he takes. So I'm a lot more positive on Isaac Collins than I was at the beginning of the season for obvious reasons. We just weren't seeing much. So, and I think he stretched that out a little bit. I think we've seen improvement and confidence come together. The problem I have is that when your team and your lineup is to the point where you have to put him in the 4-hole, you're misplaying it there.
Yes.
So he's your 6, 7, maybe 8 hitter. And if your 6, 7, 8 hitter can give you something like that, and at most you put him in the 5-hole, then I think that maybe you might have stole this guy. If he continues to improve, but, you just can't put him in situations where, in a leadoff role or a 4-hole, 3-4-hole, if he's not that kind of guy. But I'm willing to say, okay, this is for right now. We plan on him being your left fielder. I think we've seen enough that he deserves at least a shot at that where that position can be successful.
Yeah, he's got 40 more games. If he does this for what would be 80 games in a half season, then I think we can make a case that, how much would it be less when you get traded to a new team, you're switching leagues, you're the everyday left fielder, you're the guy, the move that they went out and got. They did that for India, and India talked about, trying to do too much. Putting the pressure on himself to be the leadoff hitter, and it just was a disaster of an overall season. He got injured a lot. He had the quad injury. He got hit in the face by somebody who apparently placed a bet that he would hit somebody in the face. Emmanuel Clase, I'm not sure if he did that. I don't know that he did that or not. I'm not here to say he did or did not do that. I have no idea. Cannot confirm nor deny. It was an odd bet, very specific bet. I would hit somebody in the face in the first game of the season. But India talked about sort of what took place that year. I mean, how much does it happen in Major League Baseball when you get traded for or traded away, but you go to a different league and things like that, that it takes you a while to sort of get in your comfort zone around the players, around your teammates, and to sort of be the guy that you were with the organization you came up with and then playing every day?
I think it does. It definitely can take its toll. You got to be somebody that's mature and can handle it and not get caught up in that. So some people just don't. Some players just don't like it. They don't do well. They look at it as, well, I wasn't good enough for you or whatever. Some people love it. I get a fresh start. I get to go somewhere else. This is a team that really went after me, and so I'm going to honor and reward them. And I think part of Isaac Collins' improvement is if he wasn't able to adapt to that, you'd probably see it. The mental side of that probably would have factored into his at bats a little bit, but you don't see that. You've seen him work hard. You've seen him get better. You've seen him have better and better at bats. You've seen his numbers go up. And so, every player is different, but I think that he's jumped on that opportunity. And so, sometimes teams trade for a guy and it's just a perfect fit on both sides of it. And hopefully that's the case. We need to see more. But I feel like mentally, what could have been a disaster ended up being something that was good for him, and that's also good for the Royals. So I was not big on – it wasn't like miserable for me when the Royals signed Isaac Collins, but I was like, oh, boy, I hope it's not a here we go again. There were moments at the beginning of the season where I'll admittedly say, oh, here we go again. But he's played himself out of that, and Isaac Collins doesn't play for my opinion, so it doesn't matter. All I'm saying is from the outside looking in, he's done a good job adapting to a trade, a new team, that position where it wasn't good, and he's shown massive improvement. So I'm willing to give him a chance, and I think he's a good example for guys that get traded, especially younger or mid-range guys that get traded, that if you can just forget about playing with a different team and just get after it, then you'll be all right.
Yeah, the Royals last year had a left field that if you look at the players that they started the season with, or they planned on being in left field before they made the trade. And I want to look up one thing really quickly with this. Because Yaz was mainly in right field. They had a negative WAR last year in left field, the Royals did. And, Isaac Collins is not Barry Bonds, but he's got a 1.2 positive WAR. So it's a difference. I mean, you have left field that's a negative versus a guy that is at least giving you something positive there, and you got him for Angel Zerpa, who's got Tommy John. Then yeah, you'll take that. Is he the everyday left fielder on a team that wins a division? I don't know. What do you have around him? Could be if you've got guys around him. Is he a fourth outfielder on a team that wins a division? Maybe. We'll find out. But at least we're not talking about a guy you traded for and you moved on from Zerpa and you got this guy and he's just been brutal and it's another Jonathan India where you're going to have to move on pretty quickly. At least he's showing that he's got value on the team, playing every day in left field, now a positive WAR, and OPSing 800, in his last 40-some-odd games. So I think that's a positive direction.
You talk about Jonathan India, I think last year he was talking about how he got his high school coach and worked out with him and just kind of went back to his roots. We had talked about that a lot. And that leads you to believe that maybe when he was traded over here and the expectations were, okay, well, he's this on-base percentage guy. He's going to lead off. He's going to do this. It seems like mentally he was putting that pressure on himself and that he had to do this. And so, I feel like he did. Don't know. I'm not in his head. But, based on him saying I went back to my roots to try to just go back to be the player I was and having fun and relaxing, well, then I guess maybe he wasn't having fun and he wasn't relaxing. And I feel like through hard work and maturity, Isaac Collins is showing signs that he is relaxing, and that's how you play your best when you think freely and you don't have that mental block.
Yep, we'll see what ends up happening. The final 40-some-odd games that are left for the Royals. They've got 42 games left. They played 120. So 42 games remaining for the Royals this year. Les, you're the man. Appreciate it as always, brother. We will catch up next week. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Have a great day, guys.
Yes, sir. There's Les Norman. Breaking the Norm, presented by truckmovers.com and First Federal Bank of Kansas City. Big bank protection with Community Bank Connection. We'll take a timeout, come back, wrap up this hour. Todd Leabo will be our guest coming up at 1 o'clock. Fact or fiction at about 1:25?
Sure.
Leisure. More Zone next. All right, wrapping up this hour. Thank you to Les Norman for being on my side. Also talking about Cags and Collins. Cags, Collins, Carter, Battlestar Galactica. Todd Leabo will be our guest coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. In fact, coming up next, we'll talk with him. Training camp going on. Another day. Rashee Rice talked today. We'll see what Todd Leabo heard from Rashee Rice. Jalen Moore talked. Steve Spagnuolo. Spags. The Horn Blue. Cyrus Allen. We'll talk about all those things with Todd.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Leabo.
How are you?
Oh, I'm good, man. How's the Todd? How's the Leabo life right now?
Oh, I went to the dentist this morning.
There you go.
How was it?
Great.
They look great. Look
Smile. No. You can't give me a little smirky smile.
Don't smile like that. Come on, show your teeth. Don't
Not
be
a
George.
soft smile.
Don't be
Show
George.
us your
Don't be George
biter,
Washington.
brother.
Don't
My
be George
gums are
Washington.
okay.
Have faith in your teeth.
My gums are all right. Got some X-rays. I looked over the X-rays. A lot of fillings in my teeth from my just bad genetics and everything.
At least you have them.
And that's that's what they sold me.
Is that at least you have your teeth? Teeth are a privilege.
Yeah, they are.
That's
they
from
were
a
given
movie.
to
That's
me.
that creepy ass
That's that
movie.
creepy movie,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I've thought about that ever since I watched that. Teeth are a privilege. Like,
That's
what a
movie?
You psycho.
weird-ass
Yeah,
thing
the
to
room, the room, the house guest.
House
guest.
guest.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
I
The
did
house
watch,
room, something like that. Yeah.
I watched Obsession. That's the new movie. I watched
Liked
that
it.
the other day.
Not bad, right? I told
Yeah.
you, but like the cat, when they open up the damn thing, that cat would
what are you
smell.
doing?
But here also though,
Don't talk about this
but
on the radio. People don't know.
it wasn't
If you
necessarily.
haven't seen it now, you
what
don't
was,
want to.
What was the word that you used, Michael? Not necessarily
Unsettling.
like horror or thriller.
Psychological thriller.
It was. Oh darn it.
Spooky.
No, it wasn't that. It was just.
It was
Unsettling.
Unsettling.
Unsettling's
a
a good word to
yeah.
use for it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
No, that wasn't the word. But if I think of it, I'll get back to you.
Jarring? I mean,
Nope, not even jarring. It started with an F thing, I think.
Farcical.
Or there was an F in there. F off, dude.
Yeah. Seriously.
Seriously. Sterling.
Wow.
I mean, come on.
Wait,
It
what's the
wasn't
F stand
farcical.
for?
Don't know.
Farcical. Farcical off. You know what I mean? It's what Jack Caglione used that word to
Hit the
Bailey
ball
Ober.
Far.
No,
yeah.
when he said effing either another way to call a kitty cat a kitten, the five
Yeah.
little letters, or said
It all goes back to cats.
said pitch it.
Yeah. Something.
Because I could see both. I could see the bleeping pitch it or the bleeping hello. Hello, Governor. A little bit of the how's your father?
I don't think it was pitch it.
I don't know that it was
I
either.
don't think so.
What do you think it was?
Is it what was in that sandwich? Cat.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
Yep.
Moving on.
But I'm not wrong. When they open the Tupperware, that it would immediately hit you with a jar.
Probably.
But if it's cooked,
you know,
it
that's
wouldn't.
not the thing that
It wasn't
was the silliest
raw.
about the movie.
Well, that
But also
got
it
me.
wasn't
And also
raw,
the
it
end
was
when the guy
cooked.
gets the I want $1 billion and he gets the money,
Yeah.
and then somehow it goes back to the house.
that would be Sterling.
And it just
Like,
falls out
it's
of the
all
sky.
true, man. It's
Yeah.
all true. And then that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Those were the
Yes.
parts that weren't real.
Yeah, the one wish.
You know, it's
willow.
not a true story.
Yeah, but I need at least you
Oh.
can't suspend that much.
So that's when you checked
Of
out.
life.
You suspended
No,
reality until that
it's-
part when he asked for $1 billion and immediately got it. At that point, you're like, you know what? I'm out.
You're your friend's
Nope.
kind of a bleep. Like at that point, you're like, dude, okay, fine, I'll do it
He didn't
because you're
understand. He
clearly
didn't know.
freaking
It didn't
out.
start with an F. Disturbing.
Disturbing.
Disturbing is the word that he used.
Silent F.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the silent F. It's It's disturbing.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
wow.
was a pretty disturbing show. It was fun though.
Yeah.
Disturbed.
You know what? I liked it.
A
But
lot
also,
better to watch it at home at 1 in the afternoon on
Yeah.
a Sunday than
Oh, watch it at
Also-
10
night.
o'clock at night. At the
but
theater.
Sterling, that part of it, it wouldn't smell because it's cooked.
It would
wasn't
still
raw.
smell.
But it wasn't raw. You
I
wouldn't
think it was
know that
raw.
that's
Wasn't it raw?
It was not, no, it was
raw.
roasted.
It would
Roasted.
smell. It would smell because the cat was dead, dug
Yeah.
up, and then cooked.
But
Yeah,
it was cooked.
correct.
Though. Why would
Yeah.
you
Cook it out.
You're
You
still
cook it
cooked it
out.
out.
It's
You cooked out the. There's other
it had
ingredients
been
in there.
dead for a little bit.
Yeah, it's been.
There were other spices and ingredients that would offer some sort of an aroma.
What would you guys
besides
do?
immediately dead cat? I
What if he
wouldn't
just
have known.
left? What if he like got on a plane and like went to like
And she'd show.
She would show
Like
up, dude. Are you
turkey.
kidding me?
no? Like what if I just went to Istanbul?
She
can't-
would be
how's he
there.
going to get the money doing that working at the music shop?
Exactly.
Ask your parents. I don't know. Steal it from the guy that just got $1
Ask
billion.
your parents. Boy, that's a privilege that not a lot of people.
No, okay. How about
have.
you? How about you go?
How am I going to get to Istanbul? Just ask your parents to pay for it.
No, that's not my point. I'm saying like ask your friends.
Hey,
ask
let's
someone.
not try to.
Ask
It was a
your
fun movie.
It was,
The
but
guy
like
made it for less than $1 million
no,
and
no,
made
it's
400
a great
million.
movie.
Great story.
I really
pretty good.
enjoyed the movie, but hear me out. This is what I would do. I if my boy
Here's the thing.
just
You
bleeped-
never would have had this happen to you because you'd never been in the friend zone.
That's true.
No, are you
Stu.
serious?
No, never friend
What's
zone.
a friend zone?
Has
See?
no idea.
He doesn't know.
No idea.
You don't know the rest of our lives.
Reminds me of
No.
my.
Stu.
I had a. I
I
had
see
a
the mustache and the mullet, and I'll tell you
That's
what,
what it
it's
is.
game over.
Thank you. I had a buddy. Speaking of suspending reality, I had a buddy who his issue with Field of Dreams is that he wouldn't say, "Hey, Dad, you want to have a catch?"
You'd play
he was
catch.
like, "This is stupid." I'm like, they're
You'd play
dead
catch.
He didn't
people
like the
playing
wording.
baseball.
Yeah.
They come back to
No one can see
life.
'em
A
except for
doctor
them.
transforms from a kid to a
And
doctor.
you didn't like the phrasing
But
of
hey, Dad, you want to have a catch? Was like, I'm out. I can't
out.
do it anymore. That would not happen.
Hear me out.
That's not true.
you'd say we're going to play
That is
catch.
so false.
Have you guys seen that spooky ass movie called The Strangers? Where they
Is that
break
with Jason Bateman?
No, but they break into the house. It's like based on a real story, but not really because everything's based on a real story. It's basically going like it's dumb. It came out in 08.
I don't think Obsession was based on a real
They
story.
now have 2 and 3 like different ones that are out now. But the part that gets me, gets my goat, okay, is gets my ass right here. What they do, they're inside. The lady's hand's bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
The guy takes his tie off.
Mm-hmm.
Ties the around the hand as a tourniquet,
Yeah,
right?
little tourniquet.
A little tourniquet action,
stop
right?
the bleeding.
Then all of a sudden they're outside.
Yep.
Guess what's happened when they're outside? His tie's back on his
Oh.
damn shirt.
Bad continuity.
That's just a continuity error is what
But
that is.
that makes me so mad. Like,
Yeah,
how
there's
do
a lot of
how do
continuity
they
wrong.
not see
That's-
that?
so that's your
in
issue with that
filming?
whole
You know,
movie.
someone's job is continuity,
Continuity
on the film
director.
set,
Yes.
and that's pretty bad.
Because
For the
clear-
editor, you're right. That would make me mad.
That made me mad because clearly then they filmed everything, the inside part and then the outside part.
Sure.
And so the tie, all of a sudden they go back inside.
Yeah.
Well, now the tie's wrapped around her hand.
Yeah.
I almost cussed. That was BS.
I'm glad you didn't.
That was
There's a lot of those. There's a lot of continuity issues.
that gets me.
And the funnier ones are when it's not necessarily continuity. It's like a, something, some period piece, and you look down and they got an Apple Watch on or something.
Yes.
You're like,
Mhm.
oops.
If I can see that
Take
first,
that thing
I
off.
saw that
Yes.
first watch.
Maybe you're not you're looking at as an overall, and you see that things people are too fixated on certain parts. That's an error that shouldn't happen.
Anne
You're right.
Hathaway in Dark Knight, when she was on the Batman motorcycle, she put her goggles down and then shot off all the missiles, and it immediately came back to her, and her goggles were on top of her head.
Yeah, not
that's
possible.
the dark. Like, how do you miss that in a
Okay.
continuity director?
Also,
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
too.
Also,
come on,
hear
man.
me out.
Expect better.
I do on a movie like that with that
Jennifer
much production.
Gardner and Sandra Bullock being the same person.
Yeah, that's not
you're
true.
wrong. Let's
That's
move on.
actually
What are we
not
talking
true.
about today?
It's actually not true. You alerted me to this crazy Little League story that I want. Everything is an injunction these days.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is an injunction. And as I'm reading through it, this Tulsa Little League team used an illegal player through the Tulsa State Tournament, which, by the way, if I'm the other teams in Oklahoma, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
Because they used an illegal player.
Yeah.
Knowingly, the court document shows that they knowingly used an illegal player.
Mm-hmm.
They won the Oklahoma region, and so they are then competing in the Little League World Series
In the South.
in the
West, or
Southwest
whatever it's
region.
called, yeah.
Yes, and so
Louisiana, Texas.
they
Oklahoma.
haven't used this player, so they use the player to win state. They aren't using this player in the Southwest region tournament, but the other teams found out, and Little League disqualified this team Tulsa from competing. And so
This all
he like
happened
16 or
like
something?
I don't know.
yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
And there was supposed to be a game yesterday between Oklahoma and Texas
Mhm.
teams.
Yep. And so
they said, Little League said, we're not having the game. Texas, your game, when you beat Louisiana, you're going to Williamsport.
Yep. The Texas-Louisiana game is for the championship of the
But
Southwest
they
region.
said, we're not going to take it
No.
laying down.
Twisted Sister told us that.
What could they possibly have done, though? We haven't seen anything in today's day and age of where you can just go to a judge and get a temporary injunction to be able to
Let's
play.
go injunct this.
I mean, when's the court case going to be heard in September?
Yeah, their argument to the judge in Texas was this was the only chance these kids are ever going to have to do this.
And this player hasn't played in the Southwest
So-
region tournament, so you can't hold them to the
So
standard.
the judge said, fine, we're having an injunction. Now they say we're going to reschedule the game for tonight in Waco.
Mhm.
This team is from Tulsa. The Texas team is from some town called Bourne, which is near San Antonio.
Identity.
It's like spelled funny. Not even like that.
It's not like
got,
Jason
got a couple
Bourne.
of E's in it. It's like
Boerne.
it could be pronounced Bern. I don't know. Boerne.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
kind of French.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know what it is.
It's for sale.
But so the judge said, we're doing this. And then nothing's official yet, but there's a reporter in San Antonio from a TV station down there who Bourne is near San Antonio or Bern,
Mhm.
whatever. And so he said a couple
Bjorn.
hours ago, baby Bjorn,
Yeah.
He said, here's the deal. The people from Bjorn aren't coming to Waco. They're not showing up for this game. Little League's got their back. They're going to Williamsport. So the Tulsa team going to go out there and stand on the field like the Field of Dreams with some ghosts, and then they're going to
I feel for the kids, but like if you're the coach and you knew this, you're kind of a bleep.
Here's the deal.
There has to be rules.
I'd be pissed if I was the other teams in Oklahoma. Like you knowingly used an illegal player on your team to win state, so you robbed the other teams
kids
an opportunity of being in the Southwest
And there's
region.
some even more kind of like darker, gross stuff about some of the rumors about how they got into this Oklahoma tournament. There were some things about a challenger tournament, which is for special needs kids, and you could take a brother. If you have a brother, you could do this and be in this region. They were doing all kinds of
get this
allegedly.
Team out.
So here's the problem.
Get this team out.
People have said this many ways in different phrasing or whatever. There's nothing better than kids sports for the kids, but there's nothing worse in kids sports than the adults,
than the parents.
And then that's just kind of how it is. Whether it's soccer, baseball. I mean, you get the worst on your social media feeds. But you can just real easily click through anytime and see someone screaming at an umpire, fighting a referee, punching another parent. Yeah. You know, it's just a mess out there.
South Park did a really good episode on this.
I bet they did it great.
No, I'm being serious. I need to go watch
it. You've never seen it's an old South Park episode. It's good. Based about how the kids don't really want to play and all the parents are making them play.
They just want to live
and then they're all getting drunk in the stands fighting Bat Dad.
Yeah. It's so I don't know what's going to happen today, but it's 2026, so you go in joked.
You know what they should do? They should make the Tulsa team play with real rules, like 12-year-olds pitching from 50 feet instead of 46 feet, like Little League does.
That's right.
Are you saying they were playing on Tulsa time?
They're going to be out there on Tulsa time, on Waco time, and no one's going to be there with them.
And playing on a 10-year-old field as 12-year-olds, that no
most
wonder
of this stuff is pretty silly. You go to these travel tournaments, right?
Yeah.
And from just anecdotally, I've got a buddy whose kids played travel ball and did that stuff. They're done with that now, but he said, generally speaking, they always felt there was something shaky about the teams they played from Oklahoma. There would always be like some kid or a couple of kids that are older or whatever. They're just trying to get one over on everyone. Yeah, and you have to go prove how old you are at these things, all those things. I mean, they had the thing, how many years ago was that? With the kid for New York was too old.
Like in the
Danny Almonte.
Danny Almonte. He was like 15 years old and pitching for the 12-year-old team from New York.
We're teaching kids to cheat as early as you can.
Well, this one,
if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Like, did the kids, if the kids on the team knew that this was an illegal player, well, that's a terrible lesson. If they didn't know and they just thought this kid and they're playing baseball, it sucks for them. But it's also the adults that are ruining it for them.
Yeah.
So the adults are the ones in charge.
Listen, the whole sports, basically, there's a whole lot of people trying to cheat in however way they can. On the field, off the field, right?
Yeah.
Banging on trash cans, circumventing salary caps, tampering in free agency time. That's what
wives and girlfriends.
The spider tack.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, the deer urine.
Yes,
spray on your forearm.
That you could do. Spitballs, all the stuff you're just trying to do to get over it. Steroids. I mean, all of that. Right. That's just pretty much what sports you're trying to get an edge somewhere. But come on,
but
man. These are like U12 baseball teams. Just go play the game. If you get to go, have your fun, and do it.
You'll play in softball men's leagues now where people use illegal bats or balls. Like they'll freeze the ball. It's like
we're out here playing, E-League
tier league softball. Yeah, and I mean they're still going to lose to us, but yeah, they're going to.
Sterling is we'll take our home run guy. Oh, Sterling's go. We got a couple minutes. Sterling, go ahead and use ours.
No,
go ahead and use our home run here.
I'm team. If you're a first baseman, you are terrified because I'm just gonna hit that top spin.
You're rolling over every pitch.
I can't go the other way. Who do you think I am?
Put the ball in the air?
Oh, it's in the air a lot of times, but the key for
Can't
softball.
take it out though.
Huh? Oh, we can get it out there.
You?
Oh, come on. You see the hip turn.
No, I didn't actually.
No.
It's the Dak Prescott. It's all on the hip turn.
Who was doing? I know Dak was there, but who was? Wasn't there somebody who was making fun of him that was also doing those like fake?
I saw an AI one of someone doing
Tony Romo.
Yeah, it was Tony Romo at the DUI thing. They put Tony Romo's face on Dak Prescott. in the when he's trying to do the
Oh my
the
God.
line. That was really funny.
Especially with Romo watching
He's got his shoes off.
Yeah,
you know?
watching the body cam of him doing his stretches and like trying to bend. Oh, my back! It's so hard to do this with my back. I haven't been drinking, but my back is such an issue. I'll try to do this, but just so you know,
and
stretching out my back,
I'm
it's
not
an issue.
Joking about concussions or anything, but all the memes where they asked if you ever had any head injuries, and they just faded out to so many
Him
times
getting
he was
robbed.
laid out on the ground.
Also, I did ask CeeDee Lamb last year. I said 2 times for CeeDee Lamb. I said, CeeDee, do you also make fun of Dak Prescott for the hip thing? He goes, almost every day. They still will bring up the Dak Prescott hip turn.
It works, though.
Do they make fun of
Dak.
in Indianapolis? Do they make fun of Anthony Richardson for warming up with a rugby ball?
Yeah.
And then going and being terrible at throwing an actual football? They should.
Is he still on the Colts?
I think so, yeah. I think he's still a member of the team. I don't know.
I still believe
he got
in Trey
drafted
Lance,
right
though.
here in Kansas City.
How about that?
Right here.
Yeah, right here, yes.
Right
Pick
here.
Who do you
number
believe
4.
more in, Anthony Richardson or Trey Lance? Who's going to...
Boy, I don't know, man. It's
Neither.
close. I guess Anthony Richardson, he's hadn't had his second chance yet.
Yeah,
Trey Lance
younger
has
and-
had about his third chance.
I just love it that everyone saw Josh Allen and go, yeah, we can find that guy.
He's just out there.
Yeah. Accuracy in college doesn't matter. Okay, for one guy.
Yeah.
You can improve your completion percentage when you get to the NFL. Yeah,
Hey,
one guy.
Trey
Josh Allen.
Trey Lance has a better touchdown to intercept. Oh, my gosh. Trey Lance
Anthony Richardson hadn't played.
Yeah.
Dude, Trey Lance just turned 26.
He's just a kid.
Yeah.
He's younger than River Ryan.
He's the one.
Yeah, you should
he's
give him a
the
shot in
one guy
outfield.
that Kyle Shanahan couldn't make good.
Wait,
Yeah.
Trey Lance is still like 2 years younger than he'd be top 20 in the Dodgers prospect pipeline right now.
He's only probably a year older than Carson Beck.
Yeah, actually. And he's the
I
same
think
age
he's
as Tyler
25.
Shuck.
I think Carson Beck is 24, almost 25.
24, almost
Maybe
25.
25.
Tyler
Oh,
Shuck is 26.
Tyler
And he's a second-year player. He's 26.
Caleb Williams is one day older or younger than
Oh my gosh,
Carson Beck.
Tyler Shuck's almost 27.
Yeah, 26.
Trey
he
Lance
turns
like
27.
almost just turned 26. Trey Lance, give him a shot.
CJ Stroud is like 3 months older than Carson Beck.
That's
And
crazy.
he's going his fourth
That's
year.
crazy. He's getting a contract extension and stuff like that.
Hey, well, hey, Carson Beck got a contract extension.
That's a good point. Yeah. Hey, he played it right. He got $4 million last year.
Yeah.
And he's getting like $4 million guaranteed over 4 years.
Yeah.
So he comes out last year.
And
gets
that's
$4
on top of his Georgia money.
Exactly.
I mean, come on.
Yes, that's true. What'd you hear from Rashee Rice? Did he sound contrite?
I was shocked. I was shocked. I thought we would get absolutely nothing from Rashee Rice today. I thought it was going to be, he only had one time, I'm focused on the future.
Yeah.
But he answered questions about things.
Mhm.
So yeah, I was pleased that he talked a little bit. Is he contrite? I don't know, man.
Yeah, we'll
I
find
don't know.
out.
You got a long way to prove it to me.
Yeah.
And he's got 4 years of probation left to prove it
Mhm.
on whether or not he can keep his head
Yeah.
right off the field, much less on the field that you guys were talking about.
Yeah.
Concentrating and
Not
doing all those
quitting on
things.
plays.
I think the team got lost last year. I think the team was basically lost all year last year.
Mhm.
He was gone for the first 6 games. They started the thing out in Brazil. I mean, it was just
Worthy
just
injury. And,
yeah, you just get a play in, let's
Mhm.
knock somebody out, by friendly fire.
You need the Hardy Boys to find him.
Yeah, they were gone.
Mhm.
It was a mess. So, and when he got back, it didn't get any better.
Yeah.
It was funny. Like at some point, someone asked a question today about excited to get these guys all back on the field. Remember that time when everyone was excited that Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice were going to be field together?
Yeah.
Remember how that was going to be really awesome?
Only one ball. How are they all going to get the ball?
Everybody
How
got
are they going to do it?
EGE, baby.
How
And
Everybody.
with Pacheco back there.
Yeah, and with Pacheco. I mean, everybody's got to get some stuff. So
Everybody got to eat.
last year was just kind of a lost year.
Yeah.
And now, the further we get away from it and look back at it, we'll realize we should have seen it the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Really should
Yeah.
have. That the game, it was just not going to go well because it had already started to kind of fall apart. They were hanging on by a thread when Patrick got hurt. I mean, by a
Yeah.
thread.
Well, I brought it up when McDuffie had the comments with Taylor Lewan, and I know a lot of people focused on the trade and Taylor Lewan using the word anger and Trent McDuffie wasn't expected to be traded and all of that conversation. My bigger takeaway, and because that's already happened, and he had to be aware of a chance of being traded. Sorry, I'm never going to believe that he wasn't or his agent should be fired. But my bigger takeaway was when he was saying, well, once I got to L.A., now all of a sudden, I'm having fun showing back up. I got that spark back, that swagger back. I can't wait, to go and
I don't
play.
think there's a lot of spark last year.
That's my takeaway is like he had been with the Chiefs for 4 years.
With a lot of good spark for a lot of it.
And it just sort of fizzled out last year. And I think there was probably a lot of people that you were going for 3 straight and you were striving and you're getting there, you're leaning at the tape and you're trying to win 3 straight and you don't.
You get roasted.
And at that point, it might have just been okay, now we can exhale.
And then it started off bad. They lost a couple games, the injuries, the suspensions and all that. Now you're like, what are you going to do?
I think it was a whole season of like letting go of the rope.
Every time the year before something could go right, it went right.
Yep.
And last year, every time it could go wrong, it went wrong. And it started early.
It started,
very early. They just couldn't make the plays to win the games. I think it piled up on them.
Yeah. And I think that goes to show that you need to continue to change over the roster.
Yeah.
Like even a superstar like McDuffie lost the spark last year and wasn't having as much fun. And now he's got a new team, and now he's ready to go.
No way anyone had as much fun last year as they did the years before.
Yeah,
unless you're
absolutely.
a rookie and you just thought, this is the NFL.
Yeah,
it's why I think that Bieniemy being back is such a big thing, because Jason had a great point of Bieniemy, you can be the hard ass, you can be the disciplinarian, all of those things, the little things. It works for a couple years, and I think guys get a little worn down by that, right? So then you bring in a players coach. That's more like Matt Nagy. Well, then that works for a year or two because the guys are sitting here going, but finally we're not getting.
And now we got a bunch of guys who don't know Eric Bieniemy.
Yes,
and
correct.
they probably need him.
That's my point though, because then all of a sudden the older guys are like, finally we have a little easier. Let's do well, guys. So we don't have to go back and work our asses off. But then you get complacent. Then the complacency sets in. Next thing you know, you're glossing over the little things. So what do you need? Well, now you the disciplinary back in.
Yes.
So it's a cycle every couple of years. And to your point of the spark, Bruce Springsteen told us this.
Yes.
You can't have a fire without a spark.
That's true. Yes. Well, because that's the problem is Rashee Rice, he got up in the evening and he had nothing to say.
Nothing.
Goes to bed in the morning or he goes to bed feeling the exact same way. He was up all night is what I'm saying is Rashee Rice was up all night doing stupid stuff. I don't know if that's the case or not. But
just enough.
I will say for hearing Rashee today, all we can do moving forward is, well, hopefully he's honest about these things and it's a lesson learned and doing all of that stuff. Because when we heard from him after the incident in Texas, it was lesson learned, gotta grow up, maturity, decision making.
There was no
people
repercussions
around
for any
me.
of that until he made the mistake.
Right.
Another mistake.
So we're
That's
hearing
real
the same
repercussions.
stuff now. So hopefully, maybe it will stick.
Maybe. Well,
this time.
Hey, I'm telling you, we
hopefully
talked
it
about
does.
this before. He has to have been sitting here for the last few weeks going, look at all this money these wide receivers are getting paid.
Look at what Zay Flowers just got. Like
You
are burning that. Over the last couple of years, you are taking a match
And you're like-
to those hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
If he stays on the straight and narrow and has a great year, someone's going to pay him some money. It probably won't be what it could have been.
Yeah.
Had he been someone who just had the career that he's had so far, even with the injury, and had nothing else happen off the field, nothing off the field, then he might already have a deal.
Yeah, true. Chiefs might have already paid him and extended him.
Yeah.
Or,
But right now,
they may have traded him and got some form and somebody else paid him.
He's out here working this year, got to stay healthy, got to stay off probation, getting revoked, and then you hope someone's going to give you the money.
Yep.
A lot of ifs. Is this the Royals?
Yeah.
But I think that's also the carrot from Eric Bieniemy and Chad O'Shea when Rashee Rice says, "What's he improving on?"
You better go everything.
And he said, "Improving on when certain plays are not coming to me
But you know
to
they're not
keep
coming,
working.
yeah.
Those that are not coming to you." And then he asked about Chad O'Shea and Eric Bieniemy, and he said just detailed and not just necessarily of the ball, but still finish and block. And I'm like, yeah. So clearly he's been told, hey, we watched film last year. The eye in the sky shows you quitting. The eye in the sky shows you jogging here.
You're the fourth option on this route.
Yeah.
Where are you? You have still have to run the route.
Yes.
Here's the thing.
Mahomes is going to throw you the ball. He sees the back of your head. That can't happen because you know what? You want to get JSN money? Can't get JSN money on the sideline. And if you're doing that, you'll be on the sideline.
Yeah.
We ain't putting up with it this year. All right. Maybe Connor Embry and Matt Nagy, they were fine with it because they felt like they were forced to do that. Not this year. It ain't happening. You can be on the sideline. We'll play Andrew Armstrong. We'll find somebody else if you're going to quit on the play.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's time for him to grow up, obviously.
yes, on the field. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. I think that's a fact.
Fact.
But we'll see if Sterling thinks it's fiction or fact. We'll find out. Fact or fiction next.
Leisure.
No,
it was
he didn't get it.
five.
not. You
But
said
no,
a-
he
you
dealt.
said a quality start.
I said he's going to deal.
When you say
And
the
have a
words
quality start.
No, there was no
that's
and.
Not, that's
You
not
said
Sterling's
QS.
No
definition.
and.
You said QS, quality start. It was not a
it
quality
was
start.
dealt.
He
All
didn't.
right, we're keeping
Can
track
you-
again.
Can you
Go.
really deal if
Four.
you don't even get to the 6th inning?
5
be
innings,
deal.
1 run. Feels like he was dealing.
I don't know.
Dealing.
If he was dealing, I think he'd be more pitch
He
efficient.
didn't deal last time out.
No, he
though.
did not.
He did not deal.
So we
Not
go
a
around the
good
room.
deal.
Yes, that's right. We go around the room and we take turns on fact or fiction for Sterling. You know what? Todd's a guest here. Should he go first?
Yeah.
Let's start with Todd.
Yeah, we'll go with Todd.
I'm
Start
ready.
with Todd.
And by the way, it's not what I think is fact or fiction. It's what is
Okay.
fact
Yeah.
or fiction.
Yeah.
Sure.
Leaps.
Yes.
I would give Caglione a 10-year
Ooh.
deal.
Fiction.
Fact.
Now, can we have some context? Like $100 a year.
I'll give him a 20-year deal for $1
League
million a year.
minimum.
20 years, $20 million. I'm gonna say fiction on that one.
Fact. I would give him a 10-year deal.
Whoa, dang!
I'd do it.
Idiot.
I'd do it.
Nice job.
You're an idiot.
You're an
Should've
idiot.
got it right.
So, Michael, did you say fact?
I
He
said
said
fact.
Yep. So,
Of course he did. He knows the game now.
I would also give him a 10-year deal.
yeah, ball knower.
I give him 15. I mean, Juan Soto
Ball knower.
got 15-year deal. Why not give Jack 15 years? Come
Seems
on
like
now.
it's a good deal. They won't ever regret that.
No, not at all.
I didn't say 15.
All right,
No,
we're all tied at 1. Michael Darcy leads us off.
Darcy. I wouldn't give Carter an extension just yet.
That's a fact.
Fact.
Sounds like you guys know this one. Fact.
I actually don't know.
Fact.
We all said fact.
Fact, yeah.
Okay. There we go.
Who's texting you?
Carter.
I can't say it because last time I said it, I got roasted by
Was
you.
it your mommy?
Is it Hamburglar? Is it cheese?
John Gruden,
Cheating
actually.
on his wife.
Cheating on his wife with Eli
With
Drinkwitz?
Eli Drinkwitz.
Is that who
That
it
was
is?
John Gruden again. Did you hear that, John Gruden?
Gruden.
No,
Gruden.
Gruden announced our fantasy football draft this
Oh,
year.
it's great.
It's great.
I can't believe how committed he was.
He was committed. He went all in.
It was great, man. That was. I don't know how much they paid for it, but it was worth it.
Yeah, shout out Billy. I have no idea how much you paid, but thank you.
It was
You
awesome,
spent way more dumb money than
He could have. He could have mailed that in.
Dude, he spent money on a
was
Gimsbach
awesome.
one time, so this is the smartest money he's ever spent. Thanks, Billy. Jason.
Yes.
Andrew Armstrong
Uh-huh.
plays at least one regular season game for the Chiefs this year.
Fact.
Yeah, sure. Fact.
Fact.
Yeah, sure, fact.
I like yeah,
That's the
sure,
point.
fact.
I should have done 3, I think. 3 would
Yeah,
have
that
been
would have been different.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
fact, or maybe not. That's the name of the game.
I think 3 should have been the number.
Possibly.
That's on me. That's
Doubtful.
hand up.
3 to 2 to 2. We're all tied.
Rasheed Rice,
Start with Todd again.
Leabo,
Mm-hmm.
goes over at least 1,101 yard.
Oh.
This year.
1,100 and a half is the over/under, and you're taking the over.
So,
Over is a fact.
I mean, he still could get suspended in some way, right? They haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver since when? I'll say fiction.
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 Fact.
Oh my God.
I thought the 1,101 was going to throw all of you off, and it did. Y'all are dumb. I'm smart. Rasheed's going for over
We
1,101.
will fact check this one.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I'll
Write
forget
that
about
one
it.
down.
That'll probably be a ZOU, so
I'll forget
that'll
about it.
do it for us.
Well, we know what his is going to be.
No, you don't.
Over.
He could do it either way.
It might change.
It could change.
It could change. I'm
Change
allowed.
tomorrow.
It could change. That could change. Anybody could change. Michael Darcy, we're all tied 3 to 2 to 2.
Darcy, I think it's dumb the Vikings are making Kyler the starter.
Fiction.
It's like Kyler the starter, like Tyler the creator.
Mhm.
I think you think that's a fact.
I don't think McCarthy's any good. I don't
Oh,
think
wait,
you
sorry,
think McCarthy's
fiction.
any good, so it's
Sorry,
fiction.
sorry,
yeah.
fiction. My bad. Fiction. You
Fiction.
like Kyler Murray
You like
as the
Kyler
starter.
Murray, so fiction.
Sorry, fiction. You like Kyler Murray as the
Yeah.
starter.
Fiction, yeah.
Oh, thank God.
JJ McCarthy, when he was drafted, it was absurd
Yeah.
as high as he was, and then the Vikings fans after 3 games were like, he's the next best quarterback. And
Best
then
thing he ever did was get hurt, so they didn't know how bad he was that first year.
dude, he's like the definition of like a good college quarterback who it'd be like, what's his name?
And he's got weapons and a real coach too.
It'd be like Will Howard. Be like, Will Howard's gonna be. He won a championship. He's gonna be a great college or NFL quarterback. Dumb.
4 to 3 to 3. We're all tied. I'm glad I heard. I'm like, no, you like Kyler Murray. 4 to 3 to 3. We're all tied.
Give me the Call of Duty boy.
I'll go first.
Jason.
Yep. he was called to duty now. as a starter.
Khalil Benson
He said duty.
won't start. Khalil Benson won't start at right tackle in preseason game 1.
That is a fact, Jack.
Won't start in the regular season first game.
Preseason game
no.
one.
Preseason game.
Listen better.
Okay,
Khalil
fiction.
Benson
I'll
won't
just say fiction for the heck of it.
I'm going to say fact. He'll be right guard.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with. Right guard. Because Trey Smith won't play.
fiction. He will start at right tackle preseason game 1.
So who's at right guard?
I got it.
It might be Norzad. It could be.
You don't know. It didn't matter.
So Jalen Moore's not playing?
I got
Not snap
Yeah.
1.
I got the point.
Doesn't matter.
Not start. He'll be
Todd
back
got the
on.
point.
They need Khalil Benson at right tackle.
4 to 3.
I believe in this.
4 to 3. We're all tied. I would like that to be the case.
Yeah.
If they wanted to see him play right tackle, he should play right tackle.
Well, then believe. Say fact. Or fiction. I don't know what it was, but you got it wrong.
Exactly.
Leabo.
4 to 3. We're all tied.
Michael Walker.
4 to 3. Sorry.
Michael Walker will deal and
Uh-huh.
have a quality start tonight.
Fiction.
And the quality start throws me off. I'm going to say fiction.
Yeah, fiction.
Y'all are so dumb. This is such a fact. This is the biggest fact that's ever facted.
Okay.
Sterling Stamp.
Sure.
Oh boy.
He's
Sure.
getting shelled.
Yeah.
Uh,
We'll see about your stamping.
Darcy.
Yeah.
Red wine is far
Far.
superior to white wine.
I'm going to say fact. You had red wine. I'm just guessing. You had red wine over the weekend. I'm going to say fact.
I did have red wine.
I'm going to say it's fiction. It's not far superior. I think it might be just far, but not far.
I think you don't drink much wine. You're mostly a beer and whiskey guy.
Correct.
But you don't like white wine at all unless you're at the pool. Have a little white wine spritzer. Red wine with an Italian meal or a steak, maybe.
You're on the right path, but will you get this right?
I don't know. I'm going to say you don't like white wine at all. So I'm going to say it's a fact. I'll try that. It's a fiction, isn't it?
You're right
Dang
on
it.
the line. I don't mind white wine, but good red wine with a nice Italian meal is really delectable. I just don't have it much, but it's superior to
But
white,
not far.
But it's not far.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
you
all right.
nailed it. By
I
the
kind
way,
of know what you're about, but
4 to 4. We're all tied.
you would never order a white wine.
4
not
to
at a
4.
restaurant, probably.
4
I'll
to
get
4
it
to 4.
Like Franz, you got to slap the bag, you know?
Oh, yeah. There you go. 4 to 4. Todd's leading. We will start with me now.
Jake Brittingstool will make the 53-man roster. The initial, like the...
Out of camp.
Yeah, out of camp.
Out of camp.
For the first game.
For the first game, correct.
Okay, first game.
You know what? Sure, fact.
Sure, why not fact?
Sure, why not
Sure,
fact?
why not fact?
Sure, why not fact?
I'm like a maybe fact. But I'll go fact.
Darcy got it right. It was like a maybe fact. It is a fact.
We all
though.
get it right.
We all get
You
it
all
right,
got
though.
it right. Yeah, yeah.
5 to 5 to
We pulling that
5.
crap on us.
Darcy's now leading 5 to 5. We head back around to Todd.
Last time?
Last time around.
I
Last time around the moon.
really hope
Mhm.
Patrick Mahomes plays in at least one preseason game.
Fiction.
You don't hope this at all. Totally fiction.
I don't know that we've actually talked about if you hope he plays
We've
or
not talked about this.
But I don't know about the really hope.
The
I'm going
really's
to say
too much.
fiction.
Fact.
Whoa, you
God.
do
I want him to at
really
least
hope?
get like 2 drives. Not preseason game 1, but like game 3.
Okay.
He's been out a long time now.
Really? You think really?
Well,
I
you can
really
you can hope in one hand and you know what in the other for preseason game 1. That ain't happening.
Oh, I know.
But
I want game 1,
three.
but by
Yeah.
game 3, I just give him a little game action.
Uh-huh.
He's been out a while. Let him get his sea legs back.
I say do it game 2 when they're on the road. He's
Also
not scared.
Also fine. Not a lot of
Not
pressure.
the pressure of the home crowd.
The
Yeah.
pressure of Arrowhead
Dozens
rocking.
of people.
For sure. 5 to 5. We're all, or actually I'm leading now. All right, Darcy leads us off.
Indiana misses the college football playoff without Mendoza this year.
I'll say fact, just taking the field. So fact.
That's what I'm going with. Take the field. In the Big Ten, they missed the college football playoff. Sure, fact. Any team, really, at this point. Fact.
Fiction. Their schedule's lame. They're going to sneak in.
Fiction. Their
Dang it.
schedule is lame, and I don't know if you know this about Kurt Zanetti, but Google him.
Google him.
Oh.
All that guy's done. He went to the playoffs 2 years ago without
Wins.
Mendoza.
He
Yeah,
wins.
Who
That's all he
even
does
was
is-
that guy?
That's all he does is
They
win.
play like Northwestern and like Rutgers this year. They're making it.
Yeah, but now he's getting guys that think they've already arrived because they're at
that will
Indiana.
be the challenge.
That old Bill Snyder.
Yeah, but
you
here's
know.
the thing: Google him.
Okay.
You know what? Ask Jeeves
Yeah.
him.
I'm going to claud it.
Chat
6 to 5 to
GPT
5.
him.
We're all tied.
Claude him.
Last one, me. Last
Safari
one.
him. Somehow, Jason.
Yahoo him.
Bing him.
Here it is. Yep, go ahead.
Somehow, Jason.
Uh-huh.
Led Zeppelin is still underrated.
I'm going to say that you think it is a fact.
That is a fact.
I'm feeling fiction with this one.
Darcy, you're dumb. It's
You're
fact.
You're a child.
Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin's like a top 5 greatest band of all time. Easy top 10.
So
They're still underrated.
Yeah.
Like
You got is he get deep in the catalog.
Yeah,
Still underrated.
I mean, John Bonham's triplets with his feet on the drum. What are we doing? I mean, that in 1969, Good Times, Bad Times comes out. Are you serious?
Do you know who you're talking to here? He
Are
doesn't
you
know anything.
You imagine going from the Beatles
Yeah,
and
but he
like
wasn't alive
and like
that year.
Strawberry Fields Forever, and then all of a sudden you hear John Bonham just doo.
Imagine that.
Dude, imagine that right now.
Hey.
Imagine all the
Listen.
people.
Darcy, how did John Bonham die?
Don't you imagine that there, Michael?
He's the
was
only
it
dead Led
was it a
Zeppelin.
helicopter crash?
No. Choked on his own vomit. Drank
Yeah.
too much.
Ouch.
Yeah,
Tough
there's
way to go.
Yeah, a little bit like what's it called? That movie that we like?
Alcohol poisoning, basically.
What's
Wizard
that
of
movie
Oz?
No.
You know that
Obsession?
movie that we like? A Few Good Men.
Great movie.
Uh-huh.
No, you know what I'm talking
Inception.
about.
Bad News Bears.
I believe you almost cussed again.
Rookie of the Year?
It goes to 11.
Spinal Tap.
Spinal Tap. This is Spinal
Yes.
Tap, yeah.
You can't dust for vomit.
You can't dust.
He choked on vomit. It wasn't his vomit.
Sterling had a little bit of a problem trying to come up with
Crew's
spinal
up.
tip. Who's up?
Crew.
Crew. Oh, there you go. Crew. Little League World Series. We're just going
Names.
through the names of these 12-year-olds.
Thank
Ryder
you.
and Crew.
Joe
We had Ryder.
Spiker. Joe Spiker
had Crew.
texted in. Absolute solid take on Zeppelin.
See?
Thank you.
Joe's right.
Ball knower.
Put that in your pipe, Darcy. What's our bonus category? I
Crew.
won by 2.
By the
We're
way,
tied.
if people are wondering,
Crew
Crew
grounded out.
to the third baseman.
Ryder.
Yeah, right. I mean, I was trying to think
Braxton.
of that. Braxton. Thank you. Dang it. That's a good one. Braxton.
Okay, this is a good one.
7 to 6 to 5. We're all
They're
tied. By the way-
always good.
By the way, Darcy, last 6 questions, only 1 point.
We don't have to talk about it.
Yeah.
It was
They got
bad.
1
Doesn't
right out of the
know
last 6.
Gotta
ball.
finish, buddy.
Actually, 1 out of the last 7. Whew, it's even worse. Anyway, tiebreaker, bonus.
Rank.
Rank.
These
Yep.
in
Uh-huh.
order
Okay.
of
Yep.
sacks for the 2026 season.
Oh, okay. Yeah, great. Okay.
Yeah, we had to get there.
Who are they?
Chris Jones.
Grocery, paper, plastic, ball. Go ahead.
Potato.
Chris Jones. Chris Jones.
Chris Jones. George Karloftis. Peter Woods. R. Mason Thomas. Ashton Gelati.
This is actually a good one.
I know it is. I came up with it. Of course it's good.
No.
Yeah, but he did
that's
say
not
actually.
True. This is actually a good one. The rest of what you said's not right.
Yeah.
What do you
that's
mean it's
true.
not right?
Because they're not always good.
No.
And you come up with all of them.
Rank my nuts was pretty good.
And you've
Yeah.
come up with all of them.
Have we gone from nuts to sack
Yeah, that's
in
right.
2 weeks?
Yes. The sacks.
That's a bit.
Yeah, he's going from 5th grade to 6th grade. He's
Football season's here.
Yes.
It's getting serious.
but he's reading at an 8th grade level, so he's smart now.
He's really
We
bright.
go
More
from
so
nuts
next.
to sacks
Okay.
to what's the
Breaks.
next one?
Breaks.
and yet for some reason his toes are hitting my toes.
Interesting. Okay.
I apologize.
Yeah.
Thank
there
you.
we go.
I appreciate it.
You appreciate it. All right.
You just touched me.
Rank.
We are going to rank these sacks. Chris Jones, clearly number one. George Karlaftis, Peter Wentz, R. Mason Thomas, Ashton Gelati. All right. So,
5.
Number 5, I've got Gelati.
I have Gelati.
It's Gelati.
Number 5 is Ashton Gelati.
Number 4, Frozen Custard.
I have
Peter
Woods.
I've got Peter Woods, number 4.
Peter Woods.
R. Mason
Whoa.
Thomas.
I've got RMT number 3.
RMT 3.
Whoa.
Peter Woods 3.
So we flipped those.
Yeah, y'all
Comes
flipped.
down to
Oh,
this.
well, you're all tied.
We've done the exact same answer.
That's crazy. You
I
guys
don't know
are
if that's good.
dumb. That's not
Number-
good.
Since we're
Or so
different
we're
than Sterling,
smart. It's probably right. Number 2, I went Chris Jones.
I went Chris Jones.
Chris Jones.
Yeah, Chris Jones. You guys all had the
Number
same
1,
five.
Karlaftis.
Karlaftis, yeah.
Yep, that means I win.
That means I win.
Nope.
I was in first place.
Leabo wins.
Does that matter?
Okay.
No, we were all tied. What are you talking? We're not in first place. We were tied, sir.
where-
more tied than you.
Where does FAU and Omar Norman Lott fit into this?
Well, FAU's
Well,
healthy.
Omar Norman
I'll
Lott.
give him more of a
Omar
chance.
Norman Lott fits into the depth chart.
Cole Brevard or Cooper McDonald?
FAU over under 1.5 sacks. Go.
Under.
Can you tell me what the over/under is on games played?
Over.
So I think I'll take the over if he's actually playing this year.
More sacks, Cooper McDonald or Kyrus Tonga?
Tonga.
Wow. Tonga?
Tonga.
I don't know.
Think
Maybe
These are
Tonga.
tough choices.
Maybe
One
Cooper.
into round 2.
Leabo wins. Congratulations. I don't know how you guys all had the exact same
That is
answer.
crazy that we did.
Like no one put CJ95 first. They all went Karlaftis.
Yeah,
Everyone had
Karloff's gonna
Gelati
be
last.
healthy. You know, Gelati's hurt right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
RMT should get more sacks than Peter
Yeah.
Woods.
Just
You're
'cause he's
crazy
coming
about
from
that.
Yeah, that is a little insane.
Yeah, that's
Write
absurd.
that one down.
No, because Peter Woods is
Peter Woods
an
is-
absolute
Is a
like a
dog.
defensive tackle. Oh.
Yeah, but he's a dog, though. He got a dog in him.
I've
He
heard
does.
that. I've heard people say he's a dog, and Kenneth Walker is a dog, and Alohi
I
Gilman's
mean,
a dog.
CJ95 plays inside. What's he do?
A lot of dogs out
Well,
there.
he doesn't get a lot of sacks inside. He gets most of his
Kicks
sacks
out, but
when he
Peter
kicks
Woods
out.
might get kicked out. a
I
little
don't
bit,
think
too.
Peter Woods going to just get to freelance and go where he wants.
He's going freelance.
Chris Jones
Yeah,
just
Chris
goes over
Jones.
and he pats someone on the
Yep,
side.
move.
Says, move over.
I'm
This
taking
is
on this
my
guy.
sack.
I'm
His
gonna go and
most
attack
famous
this.
sack of his career was the one that
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of shut the Bengals down. He
Left-
just went
left end.
in mine. It was Carlos Dunlap or something was on that team. Maybe he said,
Yeah,
"You're in." I'm-
moved him over.
I
and
got the rookie from KU out here. I'm
just
getting this sack.
destroyed him, and then waved to the crowd running off the field, and he was right.
Oh, was that Hakeem Adeniji?
Yes,
Oh
it
my
was at right
gosh.
tackle for the Bengals. Yep, that's
was
exactly
so
right.
I remember
bad
I'm watching up in the
Kansas.
press box with binoculars. Well, Chris just moved somebody.
Yeah.
Also, congratulations on your win, Leabo. Do you have a
What?
lot of people you want to
Hold on.
thank, or
No, he
I
doesn't.
just want to thank you, my family, my friends
that's
for
good.
believing with me my whole time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And
You should.
This feels
Leabo no
heartfelt.
sacks.
There you
I
go.
do know. Well, I earned it by knowing Sterling.
Yes. So
during
the
regular play.
Leabo, the unofficial depth chart. Does Brad G have it right with Jalen Moore at right tackle over Khalil Benson? By the way, I did love when Spags was talking about L'Jarius Sneed and Noah Williams. Like, well, that's probably why Brad did it that way.
Brad just put it on there.
So great.
or was it Brad Childress?
I think it was Brad G that he was going with.
I think
Does he have it right at right
Jalen
tackle?
Moore is probably currently still the starting right tackle.
Okay.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, otherwise, when Trey Smith was out, they would have kept Benson at right tackle and moved someone else in at
He
guard.
thinks the opposite. Jason thinks
did.
the opposite.
I thought the
I
opposite.
do think they're
'cause-
getting him reps
Mhm.
everywhere, but it's just what's it say about the guys who they drafted a couple years ago?
Oh, Hunter Norzad, CJ Hansen, all those guys. Yeah. Mike Caliendo, who you brought back, I believe, on a one-year deal.
Yep.
But he can do a lot of things. They like Mike.
Yeah, CJ Hansen has been pretty rough in his time.
Was he from Holy Cross?
I forget which one was which.
No, I thought he was
Norzad
Utah.
or one of the,
Hansen
someone
was-
went to Holy Cross.
Hansen was Holy Cross. Norzad was Penn State.
Yeah. So
Benson
Similar
was Indiana.
competition.
and Colorado and Indiana.
In
Is
Colorado.
Indiana twice?
Colorado and then Indiana.